hey, everybody. Happy Thursday. Great to be back with you guys again. Wonderful to be here. Can't wait to get this one started, guys. It is June 15th, 2023, and we are back in Idaho, the University of Idaho. Open discussion today, open panel about everything and anything you can think of, folks. I'll be bringing everybody up on panel, person by person, to express your feelings, opinions, and theories as you may about this case. Um, and I think it's going to be a great show, guys. Again, I'm super excited to be here with you guys as always. What do you say? We get this show on the road. Here we go. Hey, hey. Can you guys see me? Maybe not. Surprise. What's up? What's up, everybody? How are we doing today? Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, guys. There we go. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I hope everybody's having a good day today so far. Good to see you all. Thank you so much for joining me. All right, all right, all right. All right, all right, all right, all right. One moment, folks. All right, all right. Sorry, guys. I had to fix something real quick. Anyway, it's great to be here with you guys. Thank you guys for joining me again today. We have a great show set for today. Everybody and anybody has the ability to voice your opinions, your theories, your thoughts. Excuse me. Thank you guys. So let's see who we have today with us. Of course, Mrs. M, so happy to see you. P Fox, welcome back. No Chains, always happy to see you. Self-aware, BITCH. Miss Sylvia's in the house. Bonnie Bailey, great to see you. Vix Logic, welcome, great to have you here. Let me see. V Slim is welcome back. Great to have you here. Just here for the tea. So am I. Good to have you. Fallen Angel, welcome back. Miss Laura, welcome back. Amalio, good to see you. Catherine Christensen, thank you so much for joining us today. Miss Carolyn, always happy to see you. Good golly, Miss Molly's in the house. Good to see you. So happy to have you here, Molly. Thank you for joining us. Let's see. Shattered Dimensions is in the house. Good to have you here. Miss Evie Marie, great to see you. La 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 la. Miss Daisy Dead's in the house. Welcome back, Daisy. Great to have you here. Mr. Eddie, One Made Nuts in the house. Great to see you. Pixie T, welcome back. Great to see you. So happy to have you guys here. Kells, welcome. Good to see you as well. Miss Laura, welcome. Good to see you. True Crime Times in the house, everyone. Great to have you here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever it is. I hope it's good for you because it's good for me to be here with you. Miss Angela, welcome back. Great to see you. My brother Gordon Shumway, welcome. Good to see you. Let's see. Yeah, Miss Marissa, that's a new name. Welcome. Good to have you here. Good to see you. Excuse me. Marina Girl, good to see you as well. Thanks for joining us today, every one of you guys. Super excited. Walt Harris is in the house, guys. Good to see you, Walt. Thanks for joining us, bud. It is so great to have you all here, and I appreciate you all so very much. Let me see. I think that handled it there. Miss Sophie's in the house. Good to see you, Miss Sophie. Adam, stand by the jams. Good to have you. Thanks for joining us. Come on in, everybody. Grab a seat, grab your coffee, tea, whatever it may be. Come on in, sit down, and have a conversation with me. Hey. The cornball's in the house, everyone. I'm a poet and didn't know it. How about that one? Yeah. Let me see. I think that is everybody. If not, and I missed you. Yep, Lynn69 is here. Good to see you. Party of 5. Welcome. Cammy Q, always happy to see you. Vaughn Montez in the house. Good to see you as well. Thanks for joining us. Abracadabra. Hello to you. Looks like P Fox gifted one at True Crime membership here. Abracadabra, welcome to the family. Hey. That is awesome. Yeah. Welcome. Always got room for another meatball in this house, guys. Always. Come on in. Float around in the sauce with the rest of us. Hey, forget about it. You know how it goes. Great to have you guys. Thank you so very much for that, P Fox. That is awesome. Thank you. Appreciate you. Yeah, I think somebody else did that earlier too. Is that KP? KP's in the house. Evil CJ, welcome, my brother. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us today. All right, come on in, everyone. Get comfortable. We got plenty of stuff to talk about. Today is your day. Today is the day that you all get to voice your opinions, your thoughts, your theories on how you feel about this, guys. And I am super excited to listen to what you guys have to say, as always. KP, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining us. Miss Carrie Prezula, thank you for joining us. Yes, you do say my name perfect. I'm glad to hear that. I'm always worried about doing that. Your name is spelled so different, but good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad. I try. I do try. I was always very good with like phonetics, sounding things out. My mother did very well with teaching me that when I was a child, and I never had issues with it as growing. I was very good at spelling too. Now,
If you put a math problem in front of me, forget it. It's done. We're done. I'm leaving. Anina B, good to see you. Thanks for joining us today. I appreciate you. Gonna make sure everybody else is here. Give me a minute here. Let me make sure that my Miss Sudi Basic, thanks for joining us. It's great to see you. Gonna make sure the rest of my mods are in here today too. One moment, everyone. Come on, come on. One and all, we got 96 people in here and 33 likes. You know what I'm gonna say, guys. Let's make it match. My number one fan is in the house, Miss Booney Boone. Good to see you, Boone. Thanks for joining us. Eve Lucky, good to see you. Guys, if you would, while we're waiting, if you would like to, I should say. If you're not comfortable, please don't do it. But if you would, guys, why don't you let me know where you're tuning in from, guys? I always love to see that. Please, if you would. All right, Miss Astrid Parker, welcome. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Sunshine's in the house. Hey, hey. Coming from Idaho. Miss Barbarette. I'm sorry. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Barbara Canati? Canady? Newcastle, England. That is awesome. Love seeing people from overseas here. The UKers. We got people all over the place. We got good golly, Miss Molly's in the house, guys. Living in her basement. She's living in a box. She's living in a cardboard box. Remember that song? I do. Yep, yep. All right, guys. Molly, if you would, dear, can you send out um to Brandy, Heather, and Mikey? Let them know we're live, just in case they didn't get the invite. Kyla Delia, hi from the Wales, from Wales, UK. That's so awesome. Miss Michelle Apple, welcome. Lynn69 is Dorset, England. I love it. Astrid Parker from France. Hey, oui. Fallen Angels in Scotland, UK. Anina V is in Helsinki, Finland. This is amazing. I love seeing all you guys from overseas over here. Brandy Oliver's in PA. We're neighbors. Hey, hey. 1 minute. One Maiden Nut is in Minnesota. Mr. Eddie, I love it. I almost did it, Eddie. I almost did it again. Northern Michigan today. Another neighbor, Catherine Christensen. That's right. That's great. Let me see. Mercy K's in Massachusetts. Always wanted to go there. Of course, True Crime Times in the Panhandle down in Florida. Hey, hey. Miss Laura, we got another Buckeye in the house. Good to see an Ohio in here, just like me. Emily is in Stockholm, Sweden. How about that? That is so awesome. I love it. I love it. Miss Carolyn's in Washington. Marissa's in Seattle. We got Marina Girls in South Carolina. Love the weather down there. It's always beautiful down there. Of course, sunshine. We got another Idaho in here with Miss Molly. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. And Booney, what did you do? Gifted another membership. So, what I got to say is, welcome to the family. Just here for the tea. It's great to have you, and thank you so much for that, Boone. So very much. Yeah. That's awesome. Great to have you here. Great to have you as part of the family. Welcome to the sauce. Welcome to the family. Love it. Love it. Sunnyside, Florida. Miss Michelle Apple, North Carolina. Yes. OCD, welcome back. You're in North Carolina. That's awesome. We got a lot of North Carolina's people down here. North and east, south, sorry. Massachusetts. Amethyst Noors in the house. Good to see you. Cloudy New England. I've always wanted to go there. Just because of that. It is so beautiful there, guys. Always wanted to go that. And Stephen King. Stephen King, my favorite author, is the one that turned me on to the New England states. I'll be honest with you. I'm seeing that. Anina V says I'm popular all around the world. That is absolutely, you guys don't understand what that feels like to me. Because I know that we have people in here from South Africa, Finland, as we said, New England, or I'm sorry, England, Switzerland. Uh, gosh, we've had. So there's a lady that comes in here from Japan. I mean, it's amazing to me what this does. You know what I mean? And who we can reach with this. OCD said via the Bronx. Hey, hey, commercial zone. Welcome. Good to see you. Ireland, another one. I've always wanted to go there. My wife is about as Irish as you can get. Um, and yeah, we definitely wanted to go there. Their last name from over there is McAnally. Like I said, you can't get any more Irish than that. West Washington, yes. I love Stephen King. Everything he's ever put out, even when he went under the name Richard Bachman, I loved it. Where is Mikey at? T-Rock, Southern Cal. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. There's our lovely Miss Heather. Thanks for joining us, my dear. Thanks for jumping in. Miss Heather's from outer space, by the way, guys. Everybody's put in where they're from. She lives out there somewhere. Hey, hey. Yep. There's my brother, Mikey. Good to see you. Mr. Mikey's down in Florida as well. We do know that. Now I'm waiting on is Miss Brandy, the OG. Is she in here? Did she show up? She usually is. If not, there's a good reason, that's for sure. And of course, sadly, Mama Bear has to work today. She won't be joining us. You may see her pop into the chat somewhere, but who knows? All right, guys, I got 120 amazing people in here and still only 47 likes. Please, please, if you will, leave me a little DNA on that like button. Let's make this match, folks, and get us out into that algorithm if we could. Virginia Wolf, welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm trying to give you guys a better look. I got some lighting issues with this. That's why that little bowl thing over here on the right, but I'll have it right soon. I'm working on it, guys. Just trying to make the experience as best as I can for you guys, because that's all you deserve is the absolute best. Yes, Heather likes to fly over at Molly's at night, because we all know Molly lives out there in the middle of nowhere, and all the aliens like to visit her on a regular basis. Thank you so very much, Miss Sylvia. And that way I'll know I'll be able to get to all you guys whenever I need you. Just leave me some DNA. Christina Dion from Maine. I love that you love this channel. Thank you so very much. I absolutely do. For sure. These are just facts, OCD. Absolute facts. Thank you so much, CJ. I appreciate that, brother. Come on in, everybody. Get a seat. Get comfortable. All right. Tori Hathaway, welcome. Good to see you. Veronica Aguilera, thank you for joining us. Firefly, good to see you. If I didn't call it out already, I'm sorry. But if I did, you got it twice. Absolutely. B. Sims, that's correct. Oh, man. Okay. There was an alien in Brazil 20 to 30 years ago. Haha. It is known as E.T. Virginia. Gotcha. Katie Perrin, good to see you. Thanks for joining us today. And Nina V with the first super chat of the day. That is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for that. A second here to get that rolling for you. I want to go to New Orleans so bad. My wife does too. I've always wanted that experience. Check out the culture and all that fun stuff, you know. Let's see here. Absolutely, Firefly. Same with you. Oh, see, I can't do. I'm going to change up the sound here. So let's see. For
Awesome.
Let me give you guys a new sound for the super chat, super stickers. Nah, I don't like that one. Let me see here. again, Miss Eve Lucky with another one. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so very much, Miss Eve. I do appreciate every bit of that. As do I with anything, guys, because that is what keeps me going. This channel is 100% crowdfunded, and it is all from you, for you, by you, to you, from me. Did you get all that? Yep. Oh, yeah. For those of you that are members of, God, I can't stand this echo sound in my ear, guys. Drives me nuts. Hold on a minute. Okay, that's a little better. Still got an echo. Anyway, thank you, Miss Heather. There are the links, guys, for anybody that would like to donate to support the channel via Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App. I do appreciate that because, again, this channel is all funded by you guys. And that's what keeps me coming to you guys every single day of the week. And I do appreciate that so very much. Thank you for that. I appreciate that, Miss Heather. And another one, Miss Willow. Thank you again. I appreciate that so very much. Actually, I kind of like this one. Thank you so much for that, Miss Willow. I appreciate you so very much. But as I was saying, guys, for those of you that are members, meatballs, you know how that is. If you're interested in being in the Discord, guys, I do these little DJ things here and there where I play music and take requests and do all that, and we just kind of have a good time sometimes. I'd love to do that, and I'm gonna start doing it in the Discord for the members. Okay, and there, when we do that, I can show you guys videos. I can do whatever we want to do in there. Oh, hey, absolutely, Miss Fox. I would love that, and thank you so very much for that once again. Yeah, and everybody seems to have a great time when we do it. So if you guys are members, I want you guys to be able to enjoy it. I'm going to do it more often, to be honest with you. I really would like to do it more often. I'm going to start doing it in the Discord, and it opens up all sorts of doors for us to do that. So it's another perk for the members is you get to enjoy my I guess you call my DJ skills per se, or the skills that I try to have as a DJ. And we can have some fun together, folks. And we need to do that more often. We need to have more fun together because we deal with such harsh things on a regular basis that we have to have fun. So absolutely, Carolyn, thank you. And thank you so very much once again, Booney. P Fox, thank you. I appreciate you guys and all of the super chats so very much. You have no idea. Let me see something I need to change here. There we go. Okay, I like that a little bit better. Okay, doke. Anna Flavia Constantino, welcome. Good to see you. Excuse me. So, first thing we're going to get into, guys. Welcome, everybody. It's great to have you here again. There's some new documents. Okay, I understand that. Let's see here. All right. For those of you that are just blowing in the door, welcome. Great to have you. Today, guys, we are doing an open discussion, open panel. I'm bringing you guys up here. You're going to speak your mind, what you think, how you feel. everything about this case, anything. It's all on you guys. That's a great idea, Miss Michelle. Great idea. I like that. Before that, though, we're going to hit a couple documents to show you, and then we're going to go right into that, guys. So be prepared, be ready. If you guys are to be able to come up here, show yourselves. Well, you don't have to show your face if you don't want to. And speak your mind. So the first thing I do want to show you guys, though, like I said, are some of these new docs that dropped on this. We'll hit that first, get that out of the way, and move right into it. Like I said, we're going to spend as much of this this stream on hearing you guys, not me. All right, so this one, guys, is this one first one we're looking at is motion to stay proceedings. Okay. Comes down Brian Koberger by and through his attorney, N.C. Taylor, moves this court to stop. I'm not going to read every word. I'm going to give you the important words. All right, Mikey. That's awesome, bro. Procedural background. Mr. Koberger was indicted by a grand jury on May 16th of 2023. He filed a motion to make available the record of all proceedings of the grand jury pursuant to ICR 6.2 and a motion to stay proceedings. Motion requesting release of grand jury materials under qualified protective order on May 19th of 2023. The state then filed their state's response to defendants' motions regarding a grand jury record and transcript and a proposed order on May 30th of 2023. The parties are not able to reach agreement regarding the release of grand jury materials. In further opposition of Mr. Koberger's motion for the preparation of grand jury records, Jamie Rosberg, thank you for joining us. I hope so, P. I think they are, guys. They're getting ready to. They're going to try to flip this, okay? And that's. I said, when did I told you guys a long time ago. I was surprised they hadn't done it yet. Okay, they're getting ready to flip this. They're going to contest the grand jury, the indictment, all of it, guys. And they should have done it a long time ago, in my opinion, because it was not done correctly. It was bad. So it is what it is. Let's see here. Mr. Koberger stood silent at his initial arraignment to preserve his right to contest the indictment. There's the reasoning right there, folks, as to why he stood silent. And I told you guys it was a tactic that they were using, and this allows him the right, okay, to, he also asserted his right to a speedy trial pursuant to United States Idaho Constitution's jury trial scheduled to begin after October 2nd of 2023. Time is of the essence. And it is. It absolutely is in this case, guys. So, a hearing is scheduled for June 26th to argue this contested matter. So here we go. The argument, guys, this is the argument that they're putting out. By the time this court hears argument on the preparation of the grand jury proceedings, almost 6 weeks will have passed from the time of the indictment. Preparation of the grand jury record will take an additional time. Mr. Koberger has the right and intends to contest the indictment. Idaho Code 2-2131 allows the defense to seek a stay of proceedings within 7 days after the moving party discovers or by the exercise of diligence could have discovered the grounds therefor. And in any event, before the trial jury is sworn to try the case, a party may move to stay the proceedings and a ground of substantial failure to comply with the chapters in selecting the grand or trial jury. So, give me a second here. I know one thing I wanted to do, if I can. 1 second. One second. Welcome, Danielle. Give me a second, guys. I gotta set something here with the system real quick. I'm sorry. Alrighty, guys. Sorry about that. Where was it? Therefore, and in any event, before the trial jury is sworn to try the case, a party may move to stay the proceedings and, in a criminal case, to quash the indictment, or for other appropriate relief on the grounds of a substantial failure to comply with the chapter in selecting the grand or trial jury. Mr. Koberger seeks to stay the proceedings as appropriate relief while the matter of the grand jury record is argued and prepared. He is exercising due diligence to discover the grounds upon which to file a motion to dismiss related to how the grand jury was selected. He is being delayed through no fault of his own. How about that? Surprise, surprise. Oh, shoot. 1 second, folks. 1 second. Okay, my apologies, guys. I keep having these technical issues. I'm working it out though. My apologies. Welcome, Canadian Cat Lady. Good to see you. I hope you're having a great day as well. So again, he's being delayed. It says through no fault of his own. Imagine that. The conclusion. Mr. Koberger's request to stay proceedings until the grand jury record is prepared and he has adequate time to contest the indictment should be granted. The remedies allowed in Idaho Code 2-2133 are the exclusive means by which a person accused of a crime may challenge a grand jury on the ground that the jury was not selected in conformity with this chapter. Stay of proceedings is appropriate. And that was dated the 13th of June, folks. And I said this needed to be done a while ago, in my opinion. So, let me see here. Now, here is the state's response. This is what Santa had to say to that motion, okay? Comes now the state of Ohio or I always say Idaho, sorry, by and through the Latah County prosecuting attorney and respectfully submits the following response to the defendant's motion for an exception or in the alternative to extend time for compliance with I.C 19-519 filed here in June 9th. The state acknowledges that the discovery in this case is substantial and ongoing. The state also recognizes that this case is currently set for trial, projected to last 4 to 6 weeks and starting in less than 4 months. Balancing above, the state has no objection to a reasonable extension of time for the defense to comply with its obligations under Idaho Code 19-519, with the understanding and expectation that the state will likewise have a reasonable period of time to respond to any um, proffered notice of alibi, and with the additional understanding that any defense compliance with Idaho Code 19-519 occur by July 24th of 2023. And there that is. So what do you guys think? What do you think about this, folks? I mean, it's kind of crazy. Miss Kiki E-Man, it's good to see you, hun. It's okay. No apologies needed. As long as you're okay, that's what we're worried about. So I'm glad to see you, and I hope you're doing okay. Let me see. I think I showed this. Yes, I did show you that. Okay, the defendant's reply to state's supplemental response to defendant's motion regarding grand jury record and transcript. Okay, here we go. There's that. Sarge is in the house, my brother. Good to see you, my friend. I saw you called. Sorry I missed that. I was at the doctor's this morning. But you have your day, my friend, because I'm bringing you guys up here today to say your piece. I'm glad you're in here because of what we're going over right now. Pappy Man, what's up, my brother? Good to see you as well. So we are doing that. Yes, absolutely, Sarge. Let me finish this here, and I will start to do the linking. One moment. Defendant's reply to state supplemental response to defendant's motions regarding grand jury record and transcript comes now. Procedural background, the argument. That's what we need is the argument. So Mr. Koberger has a legal right to challenge the grand jury indictment, and the court should release all records requested in this motion. Mr. Koberger faces charges of 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary. Because of the first-degree murder charges, the state can file a notice of intent to seek the death penalty. After Mr. Koberger's early January court appearance, counsel for Mr. Koberger and the state planned for a preliminary hearing scheduled the week of the 26th of June. A preliminary hearing would have allowed the defense to challenge evidence the state claims to have against Mr. Koberger, as we've all explained to you guys. The state as is, its option chose to proceed with a secret grand jury. A grand jury was impaneled at a time when the small community of Moscow, Idaho had been exposed to 6 months of intense local, national, and international media coverage because the state has provided extensive discovery. Mr. Koberger knows that exculpatory evidence exists. Whether a fair and impartial panel of grand jurors was assembled amidst intense media coverage is a significant question. The defense must evaluate whether inadmissible or exculpatory evidence was presented to the grand jury. Is a significant question the defense must evaluate. And while there are many other legal arguments Mr. Koberger may pursue related to the grand jury proceedings, how the grand jury was selected, and what evidence was presented, illustrate good cause for the defense's need for all materials set forth in its motion. Mr. Koberger is entitled to pursue relief on a single error or cumulative errors to determine if there are cumulative errors. Good cause exists to review all items requested in his motion. Cumulative error exists when the cumulative effect of the errors and indiscretions, none of which alone have been enough to tip the scale, operate prejudice by producing a biased grand jury. Like I said, under the doctrine of cumulative error, a series of errors harmless in and of themselves may in the aggregate show the absence of a fair trial, like we've been saying, everyone. So Mr. Koberger is entitled to request the proceedings be stayed while he challenges the indictment. Mr. Koberger is requesting items listed in Idaho Criminal Rule 6 and Idaho Codes 19-1001, 19-2021, 19-2001, 19-1401. Mr. Koberger is not seeking anything outside of rule or statute. Each portion of the grand jury proceedings is specified in his original motion and in the rule. The state's suggestion that he should listen to the audio recording and or review a transcript of incomplete proceedings merely adds delay to Mr. Koberger's ability to challenge the grand jury indictment. Essentially, Mr. Koberger is asked to look at some but not all, and then ask for more at a later time. See, that's bullshit. I'm sorry. Mr. Koberger's right of a speedy trial has not been waived. This sort of delay would require either a waiver of his important right to a speedy trial or for counsel to represent him less than fully prepared, as Mr. Koberger, under separate but contemporaneous filing, is requesting that his case be stayed during the now contested process of obtaining materials he must examine. Authority for a stay is contained in Idaho Code 2-2132. A party may move to stay the proceedings and, in criminal case, to quash the indictment or for other appropriate relief on the ground of substantial failure to comply with the chapter in selecting the grand jury or trial jury. Mr. Koberger is acting with diligence to discover grounds upon which to challenge the indictment through a motion to dismiss. The state's obstruction of release of the full grand jury proceedings is creating unnecessary delay. This case should be stayed until Mr. Koberger has complete access to all matters related to the grand jury proceedings, and until such time as he file Idaho Rule 48 motion to dismiss the indictment, or as Mr. Koberger is requesting, the court should order all grand jury records released so that the defense work can be done. Thank you. And that's the rest of this is just it's giving you different cases and stuff that are the same. Release grand jury, Mr. Koberger's defense to provide effective representation. To sealed versus qualified protective order. Mr. Koberger seeks to access. 1 second. Okay, Mr. Koberger seeks access to these records, whether sealed or under qualified protective order. Defense counsel needs to be able to disclose the grand jury records to the defense team, including relevant experts, with the admonition that the records are not to be copied or dispersed. Defense counsel needs to be able to review the records with Mr. Koberger, but does not seek in order to provide him with a copy. Additionally, the defense needs to be able to refer to the records in legal challenges or witness examination. To protect the sensitive nature of the records and pleadings referencing grand jury proceedings, any such pleadings can be submitted to the court with a motion to seal. Conclusion: Mr. Koberger is entitled to review all grand jury proceedings as set forth in his original motion to make available the record of all proceedings of the grand jury pursuant to ICR 6.2 filed on May 19th of 2023. Although good cause is not required, it exists because a grand jury was impaneled after 6 months of intense media coverage in a small community. Exculpatory evidence exists, and there may be a single error or cumulative errors which require the examination of the entire grand jury record. 1 second. Okay. Sorry about that. Yes, errors. How about that, Sarge? There may be a single error or cumulative errors which require the examination of the entire grand jury record. He does not object to the records being sealed as clarified earlier. He agrees with the state that grand juror notes should be included in the records provided. Should the court release only partial records or transcripts, Mr. Koberger requests a stay of all proceedings pursuant to Idaho Code 2-213 until such time as he is able to review. Request additional records, provide a sworn statement of reasons, and file a ICR 48 motion to dismiss. And there it is. Errors. How about that? Interesting. And that does that for today, folks. As far as documents go. And what I'm going to do now is I would like to invite Sarge Broussard, the Sarge up first, folks. Bear with us. And then we will slowly but surely move into everyone else. The link's in the chat. Sarge, do your thing, my friend. Excuse me. Let me bring that down and bring that down. Bring that down. And there we are. Can you hear me?
Look at that handsome devil.
I know. You don't have to give me those compliments. Good afternoon, my friend, and welcome.
How the heck are you there, Dago?
I am absolutely wonderful. How are you?
Well, as of last night, I was excited because from the moment he was arrested to the moment he was indicted, everything I said the defense should do, they're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, well, I was having a meeting with my moderators after my show yesterday, and we were talking about, somebody said, I think it was Miss Sherry, she popped in and said that they just dropped this, and I was like, oh my God, thank you. Thank you. I was wondering when it was going to happen. I knew it would happen. I mean, I just had really, really a lot of confidence it was going to happen. It was taking a while.
You remember when he stood silent and I said that was the first act in an appeal?
Yes, absolutely.
And that he is not going to cooperate with this because he believes the entire thing is wrong. He's innocent, and he doesn't have to prove his innocence.
About the errors. So
right. Well, look, here's the key that a lot of, I was on other streams over the last couple of days, and people are paying attention to details that have nothing to do with where we are.
Right.
Whether he's innocent or guilty, no matter whose shoe print it is, latent, all of that stuff doesn't mean anything.
Yes.
Because the deficiencies in the application for the original arrest warrant the deficiencies are glaring. A policeman can swear under oath that because Brian's education and expertise in this field would give him the knowledge to turn his phone off.
Oh, yeah.
That isn't evidence that Brian was in the house.
That's right.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
All of these cars that look like Brian's, that's not evidence he was in the house.
That's right.
No evidence he was in the house. Matter of fact, the people that should have been arrested, and I hate to say it out loud, are the two survivors.
The two survivors, right.
They should have been arrested.
Only because They're the
Well,
only ones that were
well,
there. That they know for a fact were there. Well, based on what we know.
listen, you're in a home. You're in a home with 4 murdered individuals. You
Right.
admit you're there, right?
That's
You
it.
can prove you were there.
That's
You didn't
right.
do anything for 8 hours after these people were killed, right? So you have probable cause now.
That's absolutely correct, sir.
Doesn't mean these kids did anything.
No, but they
But
should have been
there's
detained, and they
More
should have.
probable,
And
right? There's
swabbed and
more
all that.
reason to say. There's more solid evidence to say these 2 people may be involved, Your Honor. We would like warrants, or we would like an arrest warrant on them.
Right.
Whereas if you flip over to Brian Kohlberger and you show a judge that he's been in the area for 5 months, that doesn't show him in the house during the killing, right?
Yeah.
How about his last cell phone recorded ping was in Pullman? Didn't he live in Pullman, or am I crazy?
No, he lived there. Yeah.
So his last cell phone ping shows him at home. He's innocent. You see?
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
Robin's correct. They made themselves look very shady, which is why everybody went down the road that we did, because we had no choice but to do that. Based on what we knew.
And it's, look at everything that I base my statements on are on information provided to us by them. That's why I say I don't really care about shoe prints and all the other ancillary stuff, because
Right.
if you look at just what's been presented to us, right? Like some people say the PCA, there's stuff in the PCA that isn't there. I disagree with that, because Idaho law states there has to be a substantial amount of evidence,
Right.
that the accused likely committed the crime. And where is that substantial evidence? And then when that Jules, I forget, I always get her, I know she's Jules, when she provided that document about pre-arrest warrant.
Yes.
And they're trying to stomp the DNA away from the judge, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's stunning, because if you took the DNA out, and this is where Brian's going to go with this, I promise you, if the police weren't sure that was admissible or usable, and the judge did use it, then they arrested him outside of his constitutional rights.
100%.
And they can't convict, they can't recharge the guy. It's over. See, they should never have charged him without a grand jury indictment to begin with.
That's exactly what I said as well.
They should have investigated Brian Kohlberg. That touch DNA, if it showed up at multiple points in multiple places in the crime scene, that would have been in the PCA. I also suspect that if the murder weapon was consistent with what that knife sheath potentially held,
right,
that would have been in the PCA.
Oh,
see, information like that. Then if you could narrow down, there was only 4 cars the whole night, and this one, and the other 3 weren't white, and this one, they could have done something better than just
yeah, absolutely.
Just the cop's statement that we saw this car 3-point park. All the story. I don't care what the car did. Did you see Brian in the car? Did you identify the car as Brian Kohlberger's? Is there an identifying feature to that particular photo, or to what you're showing me? Is there something to identify that belonging to Brian Kohlberger? And there isn't.
Right. I agree.
See, that stuff's supposed to be in the PCA, folks. All the stuff we're hearing about secret evidence, they know more than they're telling us. That's true, but they only know more than they're telling us because they got illegal warrants on an unlawful PCA.
Right. And what commercial just said here is they rushed to arrest someone hoping they would get evidence through the warrants. Fruit of the poisonous tree, 4th Amendment violation. 100%. I absolutely said that. I said that a while ago, that they counted their eggs before they looked in the basket, and that's my opinion. That's what I think happened.
I think they fabricated where they should never have fabricated. And I believe that whoever that trial judge was that authorized the PCA should be stripped of his pension and removed from the bench.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely.
I got to find the link, but when you read what it requires to obtain a PCA, they admit you can use hearsay.
Yeah.
But substantial hearsay. If there's 10 people in the bank and only 2 people say they call you out and the other 8 people can't identify you, that's iffy. Now they can investigate you, but they issue an arrest warrant, 8 say no and 2 say possibly, yeah, maybe. I'm sorry, that's a good reason to investigate me.
Yes, sir.
If my transfer DNA is on the button of that knife sheath, which only shows up coincidentally after you collect his father's DNA. There was no mention of DNA in any of their paperwork until after they collected it.
Exactly.
From his father, right?
Huge red flag.
So,
huge red flag.
Okay. So whether there's something criminal there or not to entrap the guy, I don't know. But it's possible. It's more possible they did that than Brian was in that house.
That's fact.
right? I got kicked out of streams asking people, show me a piece of evidence that places them in that house. Just
Because
one.
nobody can. Nobody can. That's the problem. That's why people get so upset about it. There's
Right.
nothing to show us.
So how do you arrest a man on that?
That's what the problem is. It was unconstitutional and, in my opinion, unlawful. And I want to see them prove where it's not. That's my problem.
I'm kind of, and I listen, I have no animosity towards any of these victims. I don't care if they were criminals. They were murdered. And God, God rest their souls. They could have been the worst criminals on the planet, drug deal. I don't know. It's none of my business. But they should never have been slaughtered that way. There's nothing that justifies that.
Nope.
Right?
Not
but
at all.
In my twisted head, I almost hope for America to understand that if this guy actually did do it, and their process of putting him in front of a court was unlawful, that we all learned that the murderer was set free because the government didn't do their job. That's the lesson I hope.
That's right there. That's exactly what I said.
More Americans need to pay attention to what their officials are doing. And 98% of your grand jury is approved, and 98% of your cases are plea bargained. Okay?
Yes, sir.
And that's why they take the liberties to do what they do. And that's a tragedy for the American citizen. I mean, look how many people ended up in jail and people don't fight back. Right. So
because they don't think they can, and people don't understand that we have a voice, we have the ability to do certain things, and because the government wants us to feel like we're helpless and we're harmless. Okay. And that's how everybody reacts to that. They act that way because they want us to feel that way. We have the ability to stand up and use our voice to make a difference, to make a change in these things, folks. And like Sarge was saying the other day, that's what we need to be doing, without violence, of course, but standing strong as a whole unit and making these things happen and making these things be seen as American people. And that's what needs to happen, folks. And I absolutely agree with that.
Remember, I was in here and I said that other host, he doxed me.
Oh,
because he didn't disagree. But here's the funny thing: he couldn't answer the question. All they kept saying in that chat room is they wouldn't arrest him if they didn't have something. And what I'm trying to tell people is, look, if you are a dealer of death, you're a dealer of fentanyl, and a police dog walks by your car and smells drugs, that is not the basis to search you and detain you. No. A smell alone is not enough. If you get pulled over by the police and they bring their dog out, if they're pulling you over for a bad traffic signal or a bad taillight or headlight or speeding, their dog has nothing to do with this stop. Therefore, no matter what the dog finds, it's unconstitutionally obtained. That's why the government is given these limits. And unfortunately, guilty people are set free because the government, they abuse they create powers in places they shouldn't have power. You don't pull a kid over on a left on right on red, and then sniff his car and nail him for drugs, and because he's black, you put him in jail.
Right.
Sorry.
That's a great point, Lisa. She says, I think the fact that Steve and Christy told DTS that they are preparing a lawsuit in case BK gets off on a technicality is very telling, and it absolutely does say something to me that they, in fact, realize that there may be something not right here.
Right.
Welcome, Cheryl Kabat. Thank you so much. Welcome to the family. It's great to have you here.
Can I say there's no such thing as a technicality. Eliminate that word from your mind.
Right.
Brian Kohlberger will not be, if this goes the way I've said things should have went, they're going that way. If they continue on this path, I suspect the man will not be exonerated. He'll be released because of insufficient probable cause.
Right.
And I believe if he's released that way, he's going to demand he gets released with prejudice.
Unlawful.
That means you can never come after the guy again, and he could sue your ass.
Double jeopardy. That's right.
Right. So let's go to the grand jury. Look at that little game they played. Remember the day that happened? I came in here and said he needs to appeal. If his lawyers are any good, they're going to appeal, and they're doing it. Yeah. Right. On the exact basis that I outlined, because that's how the system's supposed to work.
Yes.
Right. Yes, unless you have solid evidence on somebody, you just can't be putting people in jail, man.
No.
Or creating ways to generate evidence to put people in jail because you think that's the guilty party. That's not your
Right.
job as a policeman.
Right. I agree, Eddie. Eddie says, I fear for his safety if found not guilty. I do too, because
And
people,
it's a tragedy.
and that's what it is. It's sadly because regardless of whether or not they could show all the proof in the world that he was not guilty, people in their minds have had him guilty from the day that he was arrested,
Right.
and it's never going to change. That's the sad thing.
And isn't it funny? The mainstream media only questioned guys that question the process the government has taken
Yes.
against Brian.
Yes, absolutely.
None of the shows that lick the feet of the government, that say they had to arrest him for some reason or they wouldn't have arrested him. People
Right.
that are that ignorant to reality, they don't get questioned at all, because they're selling the narrative the government wants you to sell.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And they're inadvertently through no direct responsibility of their own, but they're inadvertently helping perpetrate crimes against Americans.
That's right.
By their inability to review and look things up. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Those streams drive me crazy.
Oh, I know. Oh, I've watched a few of them because I keep up with everybody's stuff just because. And you go in, and the first thing you hear is, well, Brian Koberger did this with this weapon, and he did this way, and he did that, and he did it, 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 and nobody else did it but him, but he did it, and he did it. I'm so sick of hearing it. How do you know that he did it? Because
Here's
I
the
don't.
sad part. Look, they might be right. They might be right. But
They might be, but we don't know that.
no, but let's say they are right. I hope those people turn out to be right, so that in the end, when Brian Koberger's running his process through the system, and they dismiss it
Right.
for lack of probable cause, that these people pause. Maybe that'll be the smack they need to think. Maybe I should review things more. Maybe if I'm going to do true crime, I should be like these other people, like Jules and Dago and a few others, that actually go and look up the laws, that
Right.
read the documents and see funny numbers on the documents, and then they put them in their browser and search them. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Right? Isn't that what you do, Dago? Yeah.
That's exactly what we do.
Idaho Law Code 48414, Section 932, page 298. You got to go
Yes,
look.
sir.
Right.
That is what you got to do. If we don't know it, I'm not ashamed to say I don't know what the hell that is,
Me
but I will
too.
find out what it is.
But that's how you learn. You can only learn by being wrong. You know, I've said this before. I have a rather high IQ, but that doesn't make me smarter than anybody. Zero smarter.
And
It
that's the
just
thing.
means I can absorb faster.
Right,
And here's
right.
the handicap I have that others don't. You know what the handicap is in high IQ? You focus on something.
It's
There'll be 100 important issues, but I'm stuck on Brian Koberger right now. You see?
that's the way
I'm
I am
trapped.
too.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So somebody with a lower IQ, say you've got an average IQ of 100, you're as intelligent as Einstein. The difference being the effort that you apply to knowing. That's the only difference in IQs. It isn't that my brain is bigger or yours is smaller or yours is bigger and mine is. It's how much.
You're right. You're right. It's been proven. You could have an IQ of 50. Okay. And if you read and pay attention and absorb what you're looking at,
right,
you could be the smartest person in the world as long as you're paying attention.
Right. You're going to come across words you don't understand. You look up the definition. Right. I read many legal documents and I don't understand the terms and the way they're saying it.
But
right?
you just
look it up.
Figure it out. That's all.
Right. I did that with COVID. I did that. I do it with everything because I need to know for me. And the information
should. As a people, we should want to know what things are going, and that's what happens with the government and everything else around us, is that people just take what they throw at us and they're just okay with it, and that's not the way it should be. You need to look and read between the lines and look in the little dark boxes and all those things, and then you realize what's really going on.
Yeah, and it's a process, and in today's world, Dago, this is what makes the world amazing. And all the ills, and here's what makes it amazing. There's never been a time in history where the commoner like me and you had access to so much information.
Exactly.
You literally can study biology and became a biologist because that information and all those college courses are available to you on a computer. Right? It's incredible. You can learn how to fly a helicopter from your desktop. Enough of the information is there for you to actually then go to a piloting class and take classes and be familiar with the controls of the helicopter the minute you get in it. The finesse of moving them will come with practice.
Absolutely.
But you'll know what the elevate, you'll know what all those things do. You see?
100%. Thank you, Cheryl Kabat, for the super sticker. That is so very appreciated. And again, thanks for that. But no, I absolutely agree with you, Sarge, 100%. Because just like Jules just said, legit, 100%. By the way, Jules, you're welcome to jump up here. Here's a link for you.
Jules, you've never been in here with me. Come on now. I'm offended.
We're going to be having everybody we can up here today, so I'm going to have to roll through here. But come on up, Jules. A couple of you guys, can be permanent fixtures to answer questions, to talk about whatever. It helps. And the people and that's absolutely Fallen Angel. Knowledge is power, and that gives us the power over our own lives, folks. We just learn about everything that goes on around us. We then have the power to control our own lives, okay? Other than giving it to somebody else to do, which is what we all do based on the fact that some of us, it's just because, and I've been guilty, we're too lazy to look into it. It's just easier to let it happen. But when it's directly affecting us, we need to learn about it and know about it. You know what I mean?
Right. And the days of them saying this man is guilty, like they did to Brian, and pushing it. Now today, it's even more powerful than it was during the days when we were still attached to Britain and the monarchy, where they have a mass marketing media that can drown you in this guy's guilt. And this poor guy may have done nothing.
I agree.
Right? His cell phone showed up at the wrong place at the wrong time. And some cop that thought he was smarter than God decided that kid's education means he turned the phone off.
Oh, right.
So he spent all these years in school. The kid's 30 years old. He spent all his whole life in school to do this job so he could go kill 4 kids and be smart enough to turn off his cell phone during an hour and a half time in between.
That's why I don't believe he did.
Then he shows up the next morning. Listen, here's the worst part. That same mastermind shows up at 9:30 a.m. the next morning with his phone on. Somebody explain that to me.
That doesn't make sense either.
How does that work? So my point is that these police are they gave the judge theories from their experience, from their knowledge of experience in all of this, right?
Right.
And that doesn't place Brian in the house. The 9:30 ping, I bet you it'll prove Brian was at a local business around that house at 9:30, maybe not even on that street. I bet you any of the pings that they show, they may show that Brian was in that area and the locator located him on that particular street randomly, right?
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that 100%. And same exact thoughts that I've had on it too.
It's exciting to watch.
Yeah, that's a fact. That is a fact.
So
where did Jules go?
Where did Jules go?
All right. We got Mr. Eddie in the house. Welcome, Eddie.
Roll out the red carpet for Jules. Where is she?
Good to see you.
Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for joining us today.
What up, Eddie?
I don't know where she's at here. She's probably working too, but Jules, if you can hear me, you are requested up here if you're able to be up here today.
She has to make work
calls. Okay. Whenever you get a chance, Jules, let me know. The link is here for you.
What you got, Eddie? Eddie?
I'm still here. Still here.
Can you hear us, Eddie?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I like the backdrop.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying to give you guys better quality stuff here. Little by little, it'll get better and better for you.
You know, we all are aware of the truism that there's more truth in the first version of the story than the revised second version. Right? We've all heard that.
Absolutely.
Okay. So along those lines, I want to challenge the timeline of the time of the homicide. So, initially we were told it was between 3 and 4 a.m.
Right.
Now, what facts exist that substantiate the revised time of the homicide to between 4:04 and 4:20 or 4:25?
Bethany's phone.
That was a question I had too.
No, it's Bethany. It's Bethany's phone.
So if you break that down, it's going to be this white car. Primarily, it's going to be what Dylan said. Now, just like Sergeant Friday said, in the PCA, you can have hearsay, and Dylan's portion of the PCA is hearsay, so let's just go ahead and discard whatever she said about what she saw and what she heard. So far we just have a white car. Okay, I want to know more about the context of the white car as in regards to the time of the homicide.
Correct.
Moving forward, we got the security video of the neighbor's house. Now we know that you're probably going to orient that camera to face your entry point, your door. You know, who's coming up to the door of my house. So
Correct.
I don't think it's an NSA type of camera.
No.
You know, that's going to have a panoramic view. So they're just going to rely probably wholly on the audio portion of that security camera.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we heard a whimper and we heard the thud and a dog barking.
Right.
That's it. So, you know, a security camera is not going to pick up in your neighbor's house what's going on. And if it can, you know, I'm on my way out the door to buy a couple of them.
Exactly.
Because I'm intrigued. So
Exactly.
So it's going to pick up noises that are outside of the house. So we have a whimper. And to me, you know, if I just witnessed that scene, I would certainly be whimpering. I tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, the thud is a door closing. So people are outside and the camera is hearing this, in my opinion.
Right, it is.
So in the dog barking, I'm sure that camera has picked up many dogs barking in the past. So
Absolutely.
So now we have a DoorDash, and I'm not even concerned about the DoorDash. That has nothing to do with this.
I agree.
You're going to bring that DoorDash driver up to the stand, and he's going to, you know, be under oath and claim that he saw nothing. So there's the end of that, in my opinion. We have the TikTok, Xana's phone, whatever. That means nothing. You know, what time did it start?
Right.
Was the TikTok still going in the morning at 11:58 a.m.? So we just have a white car. That's it.
That's it.
Now, you know, there's so much more evidence that the prosecution has, and you know there is, because Bill Thompson is no dummy. He's not going to come at this case with what's in that PCA. So brace yourself for what he's got. You know, we've all talked about it before. I'm thinking it is blood in the car. I pray not.
The car has to be.
If it's blood in the car, you know, I've heard people say, well, if show me blood in the car and then we have a conviction, he's done. Well, slow down. You show me the blood in the car, and I want to know what the context of that blood
That's
in the
exactly
car
it.
is. How did it get there? Because if these crimes that we just established, they're just as likely to have happened at 3 to 4 a.m. as 4 to 4:25. So if the crimes happened, and then let me interrupt myself and also say that in the PCA, it doesn't say where these two surviving roommates were after, you know, they went to bed at 2 or whatever, between 2 and 4. So if the crime happened somewhere around 3 o'clock or thereafter, and then did they leave the house at any point before the 911 call in the morning? And if they did, what facilitated their leaving? Did maybe perhaps one of them, say Bethany, just for example, leave the house maybe right around 4:20 in a speeding white car? And did she carry some of the biological evidence of the 4 victims into that car?
Yes, sir. That's exactly. Thank you for saying that, because going back to, and that was perfect comment, commercial. That's exactly correct. Going back, I was going to say this the other day. Say they do find, like you're saying, in that car, they find a bunch of blood, or just a little bit that was on a shoe, or just something.
Anything.
Okay?
Yeah.
The exculpatory evidence that they're holding right now could very well be that, okay? That, say for instance, this is a what if, absolutely alleged speculatory comment, okay? What if that's what the exculpatory evidence was, that maybe Bethany and Brian did know each other, and that is why he came back at 9 a.m. was to drop her off because they were hanging out or something, you know, studying, helping her with studies, whatever it was, guys. It doesn't have to be anything specific. and that is what happened. Okay, guys. So
Well,
how do you prove that?
there you go.
You know,
It would also explain.
Wait a minute, guys.
how
Wait a minute.
maybe
Wait a
at
minute. Take Brian.
9:12 to
Take Brian out of that
9:21.
white car, guys. What if she just simply got in a friend's car that was white that matched the description?
well, that's
Maybe
true.
the white car itself, the whole idea that white car is Brian's needs to be erased from our mind.
Yeah, I agree.
We
Right.
don't know that. That could have been look at there was a white car just like that in the driveway of the murder scene.
Sarge, I've considered that, but
Right.
what I want to do is eliminate that. We're going to have the devil's advocates.
No, you can't. You can't. But that's not. Listen, there's no evidence to say it was Brian's car. So if she left at 4 a.m. in a white car, that's the exculpatory evidence. It doesn't have to be his.
Yeah, they're going to bring that white car, and it might
Right.
be his. I'm not saying it is, but
That would be to me, just so you
let's
know,
roll.
Eddie, in all fairness, logically, her leaving with Brian is illogical, but her leaving in a white car at 4:25 is logical.
It's absolutely logical.
Much more logical than putting Brian in the car.
Yeah,
right.
you see?
And I'm with you. I'm not challenging you, but I'm just saying. So there, someone who wants to challenge your position on that is going to. Let's just go ahead and say it is Brian. So now we just
I
established.
don't like to acquiesce to ignorance.
Well, let's establish that it's Brian, and he doesn't know why he's there. He was summoned over there at that time in the morning, 4 o'clock, whatever.
Well,
So
Jules just said it. Yeah.
He's unaware of what happened. He's not part of this, right? So, okay, let's go ahead and just put him there at 4 o'clock to 4:20 in the morning. He doesn't mean it's nefarious. And then also that would explain, the prosecution just might come pretty hard with the fact that it was him in the morning at 9:12 to 9:21. Well, that would explain Bethany arriving back at that house in time to make the 911 call.
Yes.
So there's Brian again, and he's got an alibi for that time in the morning.
Let me put this out there real fast, guys. Just let me say this real quick, okay? Just like Jules just said, what if this started off, as I believe it did, as a huge disagreement, an argument, or something like that went down, and Bethany said, hey, and she's friends with him per se in some sort, or she knows him, and said, hey, can you grab me? Can you come get me real quick, please? I got to get out of here. Boom. She grabs him, or he goes, picks her up, and he takes off with her. She either goes to a friend's house, stays there with him. They hang out all night, drinking coffee, whatever the hell it was, guys. That is what I'm saying. Okay. And that's exactly what you guys are saying, but it doesn't even have to be him. For instance, is what I know what Sarge is saying. It could be anybody at this point that picked her up that has a white car.
If she was picked up, we don't know that she was.
If she was correct, is what I'm
Right.
saying.
You don't know, right?
I still accept. I accept a rumor from one of her friends that was part of the sorority that said she witnessed somebody running nude from the home. I suspect that to be accurate. More so than her getting in a car and driving away with somebody. I suspect there was a white car in that neighborhood. Was it part of the murder? I don't know.
And that's where that white car probably could have came from, right?
But when you hear an outrageous comment like that, like the DoorDash driver called in the order they picked up to deliver, that's so outside of whatever. In other words, how would you even conceive that lie?
Right.
When the story's been going around all along about the DoorDash driver making a delivery, how would one of those workers conceive that story to lie to somebody with it?
That's
Doesn't seem plausible. Nor does the story she saw somebody running naked from the home. It doesn't fit. And it's so outrageous, you have to ask yourself, who would even conceive to lie like that? How do you come up with that combination of words to tell that story as a lie? To me, there has to be something to substantiate them kind of crazy out of the box statements, because they're so specific to an incident that are said nowhere else in any of this. Those outlying statements have some type of meaning. They could absolutely be total fabrications and lies, but to me, I just think there's something to those statements that is real.
I can agree with that. I can.
And I can't prove it no more than anybody can prove Brian was in the house.
That's right. And Jules just said someone running naked would explain no blood anywhere outside, but where the F are the clothes washed, dried, folded, and put back in place? I mean, I've thought about it. Yeah, no, I think we all have, Jules. I agree with you.
Jules, most criminals will remove their outer clothing when they commit a crime. I know that for a fact as an ex-criminal. Okay. I removed my noticeable blue jean jack coat after committing a crime and flipped it inside out to the white wool was now on the outside.
So that you're not noticeable,
yes,
right?
Sir. Yep. It's a very, very common thing for people to commit crimes to do is to either remove or alter their outer clothing. Put on a hat, put on a pair of sunglasses, and you're doing that to be incognito. In my case, let me just so people know, it didn't work for me.
Well, it usually doesn't. But, I mean, so Eddie, did you? Go ahead with what you were saying. If I interrupted you, I didn't mean to.
I interrupted him. I'm sorry.
No, not at all. Well, that pretty much summarizes it. But we're kind of conditioned into thinking that there's 3 pairs, associated with this house. We have, and what I mean by that is, you look at Ethan and Xana is a pair, and Kaylee and Maddie as a pair, and then the 2 surviving roommates,
right,
Bethany and Dylan. So we're kind of conditioned to think that where one is, the other is, and that's true. We can easily explain that and identify that in Ethan and Xana. They're a couple. They're going to be together, and then lifelong friends, Maddie and Kaylee, and we can see it with our own eyes at the Grub truck. They're together. We can't deny that. So, and then automatically we put these 2 surviving roommates together, and they're connected at the hip, and they're Siamese twins. And then what in our minds, whatever one is doing, the other one's doing. But let's break our minds away from thinking like that. Maybe one can act independent of the other. They don't necessarily both have to be in that house. Maybe one left. And that kind of is just tying in with what I said earlier, is what happened after the time of the crime. They somehow automatically have us conditioned to believing that they're in the house this whole time, but they're likely not, and possibly not. We'll just say it like that. So if one left, doesn't necessarily mean both left. They could have both left, or neither one left, but they're not Siamese twins, so they can act independent.
Exactly. Sorry to interrupt you again, Eddie. Let me answer this question. In my opinion, Anne-Marie Brannigan, thank you for the question. And she says, let's say Brian did collect Bethany. Why would she not want to exonerate him and see him get locked up for the murder she knows he didn't commit? What's her motive? Now, here's my opinion on this, okay? Because this is where the other side of things, that the conspiracy theory side of stuff, has been thrown out there, but I don't believe it's conspiracy, because I truly do believe, in my opinion, that this is drug related in a sense. Okay. I'm not going to go into details about anything big because I don't have facts to prove that, but I think that she has a fear, in my opinion, of the real situation, knowing that if she were to say, which is again why she does not want to come back to the state of Idaho. Okay. And I feel that she has a fear of something that is attached to this, that is more true than not. Okay. That is the actual truth of this. And she knows what it is. So in turn, it's easier and safer for her to let it be what it is. But at the same time, we all have morals. And I feel like she may have morals, which is why the exculpatory evidential conversation happened. And at this point, it's not something that is going to be thrown out there for all of us to know, because in turn, it could endanger her in a sense, maybe. Okay. So I do believe, Anne-Marie, that that's the reason why she's being quiet, if that's the truth, if you know what I'm saying.
Dago, that ties into why they were left alive. They made some type of a bargain, possibly.
Very possibly, Eddie. I agree with you. Very possibly, yes. And it was basically, like we had talked about at one point, a scenario such as, okay, you're going to keep your mouth shut, or this is what's going to happen to you. Don't forget that. And that's why, well, you do not see nor hear from either one of them. And she does not want to come back because she knows already. And I'm not saying that's true.
How about if she knows? How about if she knows that what she saw doesn't comport with what he's being accused of, and she doesn't want to jump in the middle of it?
That's possible too.
Simple enough, right?
I can agree with that.
They're using her phone to establish the time of death. So that tells us she was conscious and awake when these actions were taking place. Yes. And everybody keeps saying, how could they not have heard? Well, like I said earlier, if you list all the things we know about the 2 survivors and brought them to a judge, he may in fact have issued a PCA on the 2 surviving victims, because they can put themselves in the residence. They apparently were aware of something going on. They didn't call for 8 hours. And as a matter of fact, one of them left, and one of them actually called friends over. So their involvement may not be directly with the murder itself.
Yes.
Right. And on that basis alone, you would be making legitimate argument based on factual data, not an assumption.
Right.
Their being there is a fact. Leaving and having friends, a fact. Her phone part of the time of death, fact. Her seeing a guy in a black outfit, fact. She's putting herself in the middle of a crime scene when she says that.
Right.
Okay. People, you think that's evidence against a suspect? No. The only evidence she's given with that statement is that I was here and this is what I saw. I was here when the 4 people were being killed. People don't add that into their thinking, but that's really what she's telling you. I didn't call for 8 hours, right?
Innocent until proven guilty. I like your name, by the way. Says this is idiotic. If Brian was there, it would be on the PCA. That's damning. Also, why wouldn't he come forward if he was there and not involved, especially with his studies and knowledge of how to report a crime, etc. Okay. That's a great question. That really is.
It is a good point.
I'm going to say real quick what my thought is, and then I'll give it to you guys. My thought is, in that sense, first of all, you're absolutely correct. He's not on the PCA at all. That tells its own story, in my opinion. Okay. Also, why wouldn't he come forward if he was there, not involved? Because of where we're at right now, in my opinion,
your alibi can convict you.
Yes, that's my thought right there. That's
he
pretty
placed
much
himself at the crime scene.
Right.
He gives them the piece of information they don't have in an alibi. If he says he came by that day and picked her up, then he's placing himself at the crime scene. Sometimes alibis aren't what you think they are, folks. That's why what he is doing is he's showing this country exactly how you address charges brought to you by the government.
Right. And he's got that
shouldn't do. Right. The guy is doing it exactly the way, by the book.
Yep.
And imagine being picked up and then charged with 4 heinous murders from a town you just left to go home and be with your parents. What are you going to say to that?
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
Exactly.
You're not going to try. You're going to talk your way out of that? I don't think so.
No. Eddie, do you have an opinion on that?
Well, innocent until proven guilty makes a good point, and it's a good question. But we don't know what he knows. We've been fed this narrative that is so basic and lineal. So it's easy for us to understand and to accept it. But what's really happened here is quite possibly such a tangled web that there's no way you could possibly conceive the backstory to this. What does Brian know? And we just don't know what he knows. So I guess I would just say that your option is to believe what you've been told, or to trust that there's more to this and it's going to come out. Unless you were there, you're just not going to be able to know until this story unfolds.
I agree. And I think what needs to happen, guys, and excuse the way I put this, but I think we need to what should happen with this case is it needs to take a step back and shake off all the other garbage that's hanging off of this case and bring it back down to the basics of it and look at it for what it is. Step outside the box and look around a little bit and say, okay, and that's the problem with it though. What are the facts? Okay, and then take each one of those facts and make it make sense is what I'm saying. So,
and here's the difficulty with that. Here's the difficulty. People believe in things and they shouldn't believe in anything. Here's a picture of a white car. How does that show Brian Koberger in the residence? Just answer that. I'm not asking it, it's difficult to talk with people once they believe that somebody did something or something is this, global warming is real. No matter answer, you could show them there's 200,000 glaciers on Earth and they just, their face kind of blanks out. They don't have anything to say to you. They don't absorb and understand the point you're trying to make. That's the difficulty you have when people start believing things. And when you jump off and you start discussing all these other ancillary things, it helps these people build beliefs on things that aren't real. What you can believe in is when you have a fact. We have a fact that his white car was in the area. That doesn't mean that white car was even involved in the crime.
Right.
They didn't say they had occupants get out of the vehicle and go in.
No,
there's no statement of such a thing in that PCA, right?
And again, everything I've told you guys this thousands of times too. The verbiage and the language that we've been reading makes so much difference. Okay, you have to keep going back to that. And it makes perfect sense to me. But the commercial said Sergeant Friday. Maybe that's why Taylor asked for a stay of proceedings to avoid BK having to provide an alibi. Smart lawyering all the way around. I agree. Very possible.
The stay is so that they can file the appeal, because you don't know how long that appeal process will take.
Exactly.
That's why they're asking for a stay, my opinion.
And Crossroads, welcome by the way, says Friday's point is anything he says can and will be used against him. He has a constitutional right to avoid incriminating himself. That's fact.
Right, and if they never, here's the other thing that's very telling. They never investigated Brian Koberger prior to his PCA arrest. Okay, and in normal cases where you're actually seeking to find the perpetrator, you do an investigation, you get a lead. For instance, transfer DNA on the sheath is a lead. It isn't proof anybody did anything. And now you match that transfer DNA. Now you start a full-blown investigation on the guy. You can't use warrants. You're not going to a judge. You're going to collect the information that you'll then bring and present to a judge to say that this substantial amount of information shows us that it's more likely than not this man committed the crime. And that's your goal, is to get enough data to make that argument to a court. So then the court will issue an arrest warrant or even secret warrants that the perpetrator doesn't know about. Right. They can impanel a grand jury, and they do it all the time with mafia people, folks. They do it all the time. They get a grand jury to indict somebody, and then they start issuing warrants, and they put wiretaps on you. You don't even know this is happening, right? Because somebody was able to provide substantial information that the likelihood is you did commit the crime. Right. Meeting that standard, they could run the world over your head, and you wouldn't even know it.
Didn't agree. Commercial, that is the exact reason I said this yesterday. I've been saying this, that I feel that this happened as well, that it was because MPD, Moscow Police Department, had a deadline to make an arrest before January classes started to avoid a mass exodus. It's about money again, folks. Moscow depends on the U of I for money. And I've been saying that town does not exist without that college. If that college loses enrollment, that town loses money. In turn, the government goes down in a sense because there's no money to pay them. PD.
You know how you could validate that? You know how commercial zone, you know how you could validate that argument? Is go see when the cutoff is for students to be able to withdraw and not have their money confiscated from them. Right? If you find that date, then that argument holds some kind of water. It may not be the reason, but then now you have an argument that I said, look, by January 4th, if people didn't notify they weren't going to attend and they want to withdraw, they had a deadline. Right. And this guy was charged prior to the deadline.
That's
then
right.
You have an argument, right?
Absolutely. You got great stuff today, Commercial Zone, by the way. Thank you for that.
Yeah, he does. He absolutely does.
Yes.
And that's the nice thing about information, is you could keep expanding upon it, and you can make a point and even eventually be wrong, but everything you're saying is true, right?
That's right.
And just because it's true doesn't mean it's this case it applies to.
Exactly.
That's what makes researching fun if you're a geek like me.
Oh yeah, I love it. I do. I love it. So in that sense, I mean, let me ask you though, Eddie, do you have a personal opinion on what was just talked about that comment that Commercial Zone made?
I'm gonna have to have you refresh my memory on what.
Oh, it's okay.
Did you post it again?
Excuse me. Well, first off, they said that believed that there was a deadline for Moscow PD to make an arrest because January was coming. The classes were going to be starting, blah, 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 so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's a good point.
There it is.
I've said long ago, I had the feeling that they knew who committed this crime before it happened, and they knew also before it happened possibly that they knew who they were going to hang this crime on. So I'm still not ready to break away from that. It still kind of feels that way. So, on the first press conference, it was the 16th of November. John Webb from KHQ asked, how come there's been such limited information? We're almost 4 days into this. How come it's been so limited? So, what's the secret? What's going on here that we're not allowed to know anything? You have Steve Gonzalez
Mhm.
apologizing for putting and leaking information out. He apologized about the beds and that they're in the same bed, and Kaylee had a bed. He apologized for, you know, the wounds don't match. Well, that's damning. The law enforcement doesn't want us to know that because that suggests more than one killer. So they reprimanded him. You know, he caught hell for saying that, and he's apologizing. But they feed him that they went in through the back door or the back window,
Right.
and they're not reprimanding him, and he's not apologizing for it.
Right.
So they wanted that put out, in my opinion. That suggests this lone incel guy. So the problem that you have, if you're stuck on this theory of one lone killer, is a lone incel guy can't enlist the help of another. He's going to have to do this crime all by himself in that timeline, and they're going to have to bring that case on him.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Welcome, Sleuthy. Thanks for joining us today. Again, we're doing open discussion, open panel. You are welcome to join, Sleuthy, if you have anything you'd like to say.
Sleuthy, hop up. I'm gonna. My phone won't take much more of this. I'm about ready to have to check out, but
no worries, Eddie. No
We
worries.
got to buy him a new battery.
Absolutely.
I'll have to break down and buy one. But I'll probably hop back up later.
Sounds good, Eddie. Thank you for your input. As always, we love to hear from you and what you have.
Someone with an opposing view, get up on the panel and see how it goes. You guys can kind of talk through it and see where that brings us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would like I said, I would love for someone to put the facts of the PCA in an order that tells us that shows Brian Koberger was at that crime scene.
Yes.
I would love to see somebody be able to arrange that. And then go from there.
Yeah. Yeah. Sleuthy, the link is pinned in chat, hon. If you're interested, please jump up. You're more than welcome.
Yeah, it's at the top of the chat window there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people. That's why I like coming in here, Dago. There's a lot of good thinking people and reasonable people. Yeah. And that's why coming into your stream and I go into Sleuthy's and I go into a few others.
Oh yeah.
And, this is nice because everybody does interact in the chat and the topics move back and forth. It's kind of cool.
And I love it, the think tanks, the way they flow in here, because everybody does know how to disagree without hating each other and fighting. Right. And you know what I mean? And that's why I like to keep it in here.
Although you didn't call me back, that's a bit personal.
What's that?
Although you didn't call me back, that's a bit personal.
I was at the doctor's and I had to go live. I didn't have a chance to. I was going to afterwards if you weren't in here, but.
All right, I got a joke for people. You ready?
Oh, here we go.
Can I make you the target of the joke? People may not like this, but can
always. I don't mind.
So this is in jest. Good news, Dago. You're not the dumbest man in the world.
Okay.
Bad news, Dago. He's on life support. You're up next.
That was good. That was good. I like the other one from the other day, the Dago one. That was great.
Yeah, the tire one.
That was good. I had to call my mother and tell her that one. She loved it.
I like Italian jokes. I get a kick out of them. Someone asked me where the name Tony came from. I said it was when they were treating Italians as racist as they treated anybody. They wrote to New York on their back, and the Italians in retribution coined the name Tony.
There you go. There you go.
Because there's no way you get Tony out of the word Anthony. I don't know how you do that, right?
I never got it without that H. But P Fox, if you're interested, if you're ready, if you want to jump up here and voice your opinion, just click that link. Come on up, guys. I try not to have more than one or two up at a time. That way it doesn't you guys don't talk over each other. But anybody, like I said, it's anybody's panel today. Sleuthy, you are absolutely. I love to hear your insight into this. Always. Anyone. Please do click the link, jump on up here, and let's do our thing.
So the other thing too with all this stuff about exculpatory evidence is I'm not even sure that there's going to be any, but on the other hand, I also don't think that he needs exculpatory. In other words, they have to prove him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. He doesn't have to prove his innocence, right?
Right.
And in that respect, if you go and look at it from that perspective, it looks to me like they tripped over themselves to get this charge and get these warrants, and then use those warrants to get evidence. And we don't know what they collected. But let's say they did collect damning stuff against them, right? Like the media leak, there was IDs found at the house. Well, they had
Right.
nothing to do with the dead people, right?
Right.
But all of these narratives get pushed. All of this story comes out, and then the guy runs around to a grand jury. And I'm wondering how much of the evidence he collected after the unlawful issuance of the PCA was used at the grand jury. How much?
Yeah. And you know, I have to say, I think I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again if I did. I'm starting to, or I have believed for a while, the IDs they found, the whole scenario where they tried to connect him to the other case in Pennsylvania, all these things, it almost, you know, I hate to say this because it kind of sounds conspiracy like, but you know, I have to say it because it's what it looks like. You know, it looks like they're pushing this narrative with him to shove it down everybody's throat that this guy's guilty, regardless of what they show, you know, what evidence there is or there isn't. They keep giving us these things to say, hey, here he is again. Look what he may have done this again. Look, he may have done that. Look, you know, these people said he was weird. These people said he was, you know, not a good person, blah, 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 and all that. And no matter what it is, they keep coming back with this. Brian Koberger did this. Brian Koberger's a bad person. So on and so forth. It's always going back to that, and it drives me nuts.
They painted him into a man that did all that schooling so he could kill people.
Right. That's why he did it. You know.
Imagine that. They and then they compare him to another guy who was the guy, Bundy or somebody that had a degree.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right. They tie him to that guy. Is that guy using his knowledge from school?
Because they want you to look at him like we looked at Bundy. You know what I'm saying? They want you to look at him like hell. I even did it. I did because I do that evening stream and I cover true stories that movies are based on. Okay, and I covered the Gainesville Ripper, and I was like, you know, guys, this looks a hell of a lot like the Idaho case at this point, and that was early on in the case, and it's like, you know. Shit, I'm doing it too because it does look like that, you know. So it is what it is, but it's just that's what society does, and they're doing it. They're doing it with media. They're doing it with what they're saying and doing, and it's like innocent until proven guilty is innocent until proven guilty. We have to quit adapting him to every scenario we can find, and I'm saying we, I mean as a people, they as a government, whatever you want to call it, they have to stop doing it because. No matter what happens, if this guy does end up being completely 100% innocent, he's never going to be, not in society's eyes because of what they've done.
No, they've ruined this guy.
That's right. Welcome, P. Fox. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you today?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear. Thanks for being here.
Hey, so I emailed you a link to a video. Okay. It's an older video. I had never seen it. Actually, Marissa is the one that sent it to me of the Grub truck. Not gonna lie, it's kind of a staggering video, but it's very telling about Jack and this fella in the back in black. But this person took stills of this. So like you see Jack pull his phone out and send a text. Oh boy's not paying attention, like Jack like coughs. Then oh boy looks at Jack, gets his phone out, sends a text. Then ironically, Jack gets another text. Then they're like motioning it over to Maddie. It's pretty telling, but I sent you the link. But that's it. I'm just like, I was like blown away. I'm like, I can't believe I've never seen this one. Like this is crazy.
I have no problem.
And you wouldn't notice it as you're watching it because it's happening so fast. But this person like stopped every like motion they made, and like it's crazy.
You want to hear something weird? I think connected to Jack or one of the sororities. One of the people had a pre-planned passport and trip to go to Brazil or something, right?
Okay.
And everybody sided with the exoneration. At first, it was like this guy fled the country. Then it was like, no, this was pre-planned. So my question is, well, maybe he pre-planned a killing to coincide with his ability to leave the country.
Yeah,
it's possible.
Well, see, that was one thing too, and I break those down as often as I can. The whole thing with the one guy that went to Africa, that never happened. He never left the country. He stayed. He went into hiding, you know, because I think he was told you need to like stay out of the limelight until this blows over, blah, 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 so on and so forth, maybe either by an attorney, his family, whatever. But he never left the country. So That is something I was glad to find out. I went looking for that immediately. I'm like, what do you mean he went to Africa? That automatically makes him look guilty, which is I think what the point was behind that. You know what I mean?
Well, what about that video she sent you? Did you have a copy of that today?
Hey, Sarge, while he's pulling it up, I got a joke for you.
All right, let's have it.
All right. What do you call two prostitutes walking a man across the street with no legs?
Two prostitutes. The man has no legs?
Yep.
I don't know. Fun?
Support hose.
Support hose.
Oh my God!
All right, I got one for you, ladies and people with a queasy stomach. Turn down your volume. Here's one for you, P. Fox.
All right.
How do you know when a hooker's full?
I don't know.
She has a runny nose.
Oh, hell no.
God, are you serious? Oh my God.
It's so disgusting. It's funny.
Yeah.
That's
sorry.
Gross, but yes, funny.
Oh my God.
I gotta tell my dad that one. That's disgusting. I'm sorry.
Oh my God. Oh, I got a few of them, but I don't dare say them on Dago's stream.
All right, Sarge. So what's your theory? What do you think happened?
I think these 4 people were killed by people still as of yet unknown and motive unknown. That's what I think, and I believe that they rushed to judgment on very, very flimsy theories that Mr. Kohlberger is the killer, and they
absolutely,
they're running him down with it.
Absolutely.
Yes,
that's kind of what I see.
So you don't have like who you think might be involved, kind of.
I believe it's a drug cartel.
Yeah,
100%. And the reason I say that, people say they use guns. No, they skin people alive.
Right, cut their tongues out and stuff.
I mean, they use guns occasionally.
Yeah,
but like in a house where there's the next neighbor is 100 feet away from you, they'll pop you in the head with a .22 caliber. Which, by the way, for anybody that wants a career in assassination, it's the best gun to use within a headshot because the bullet ricochets around in the brain.
Understand
something. Powerful enough to penetrate the other side.
This was a message. This, whoever did this, whatever the reason, the motive, this was a message. And it was a very clear message.
Listen, I think they ate the DoorDash while they were there. I think the DoorDash order was for the killer.
See, that's what I want to know. I want to know if Xana ate her food. Like if she actually ate her food. She was allegedly on TikTok at 4:12. If she ate her food, that throws the timeline like all off.
Again,
they were all standing in that area living.
That means she ate food through 2 murder. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's 4:12. The murder's supposed to have started between 4:06 to 4:20. So within 14 minutes. Now, if you drop it down to 4:12, the murders start. Now you got 8 minutes to kill 4 kids in 2 different rooms in a dark house.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what the pathology report says, like her digestion.
Yeah, and then the time of death based on temperature readings of the liver.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's going to be a huge thing. Is the toxicology, the autopsy results. Those are going to make all the difference in the world for the scenario, and that's why we're not getting that, sadly.
Right, and they didn't even tie any of the things they found.
No, they can't even. They're basing on the time he left the house off because a white car was driving down the road. They don't even know when the killer left the house because DM didn't see him leave the house. She freaking shut and locked her door. He could have walked in the kitchen, washed his hands, and went back to the living room and sat down and smoked a cigarette. Who knows?
He could have walked up to the 3rd floor and killed the
Exactly.
Yep. Very possibly. Absolutely. Sorry, guys. I'm having an issue with my email. Just keep on talking.
I can say the page and what the video is too. If you want, that's easier.
Either way, whatever's easiest. I have to keep doing this. I've been having issues with Google.
Oh, well, it's True Crime TV. Jack's Secret Friend is the video.
Okay, one moment then. Let me do it that way.
Yeah, see, I mean, in a lot of these other cases, where they found barrels of decomposed bodies and Dahmer's right?
Or the 45 bags they just found in Mexico, like what?
So when you actually see indictments issued to people, it's because there's a strong likelihood that they did it. Now, it isn't always that way with a grand jury. This is what's confused me.
Right. And
that
you said
DA should have went to a grand jury, not sought a PCA that was then given based on opinions with no fact.
real quick. I'm sorry, Sarge. Peapock. You said
Yeah.
true crime. What?
TV.
TV. Okay.
Jack's Secret Friend is what it's called.
True Crime
Okay.
TV / Jack's Secret Friend. Might be something like that, Dago.
Okay, I got it. Hold on a second here.
You got any other jokes there, P Fox?
My husband always tells me some lame ones, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. Actually, a patient told me that one, and he was actually didn't have any legs, so that's what made it great. So
Yeah, that's too funny.
at least he had jokes, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You need humor. I concentrate a lot on humor.
Especially with
That's
that.
So
right.
here's my thing. Like, so if we go with the whole cartel like drug theory, now here's where I'm at. You got a off-campus sorority house. All them girls were Phi Beta Phi, but Kaylee, right? Which is also suspended for drugs. Then you have Sigma Chi suspended for drugs. Now, where would be the best place to stash your drugs if you're suspended and under review? Then your off-campus house, right?
Yeah.
And what if that person wasn't about that? Like, because the way I see it, if that house is what people have alleged it is, so you have, let's go back 2 years. You got a group of people, right? Whoever's been there the longest, probably in charge of that. Okay. And then as people move in and up and in and, in, up and out, you take your role of being in charge of that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Maybe, Maddie would have been the one there the longest. Maybe she wasn't about that.
Well, I can see this all happening to these poor kids based on somebody saying
something.
These drugs are not going to be in this house and then dumping them.
Right.
And those drugs were worth tens of thousands.
Man, you gotta have some balls to get rid of. You know what I mean?
I've done some. Well, yeah.
To get rid of them is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, some people do the right thing and they don't want to be in the middle of stuff. They don't want your actions to affect their lives. Some people have some decency, respect for themselves, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't come from the reflection of the mirror. That's just who they are.
Yeah, but I mean, like some balls to flush. Yeah, some balls.
Well,
I'd be scared to death.
Wasn't one of those young women investigating sex trafficking of children?
Kaylee, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so there's a lot of things that could. That's the thing we don't know, and what we do know
is horseshit.
Is the most aggravating thing in the world because they just don't connect Brian to that house
in
any way. And that's.
I mean, he could have traded. He could have traded that knife for a bag. You know what I'm saying?
They had a receipt that he bought that knife on Amazon. Then when they searched his parents' home, they found the knife and the sheath.
Did they found the knife and the sheath? I knew they found a knife, but I didn't know they found a sheath as well.
He bought a K-bar from Amazon. Yeah.
You know what else I found? I just noticed not too long ago is the search warrant from his car. You know how everyone had, they never said whether or not he worked for the police department or whatever.
Right.
I found it kind of strange. He had a reflective vest in his vehicle. Now then I'm like, he runs at night. Maybe he's super Mr. Safety. But most people just don't have a reflective vest hanging around. My husband does, but he's just a truck driver. But cops that are like parking vehicles at night usually have a reflective vest.
Right. Well, he was trying to do something highly technical with them, though.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. And see, that's another thing. I just find it odd that a grown man with a master's degree didn't already have some sort of job, career in it.
I think he was a driver. You want my opinion? I think that guy was dropping people off and picking people up for some service. That's what I could be wrong, but when when you look at those stupid cell phone pings and how they're run from June forward, when it's like he goes to a lot of the same areas all the time. So those are either friends, acquaintances, businesses, or people he's picking up with his Uber.
Or he could have been the other DoorDash driver on duty that night. Who knows?
Right. Yeah. I mean, no one's never said anything. And we're not going to get it from Brian because, whatever that may be, he's going to hold to defend himself.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Harsh realities in here.
Not to interrupt you guys. Good to see you, Harsh. Thanks for jumping in and joining us today, my friend. And Salty Sleuth. Thank you for jumping up here. Can you hear us? Okay.
Hey, yeah, I wanted to come up while Sarge was up because I wanted to run a few things past him, honestly. I'm a lot older than most people in here as well, and I've been around the block, and I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on that, but if this was a major drug town, drug ring, drug house, whatever,
Okay.
do you suppose the DEA at some point was looking at this? And can we honestly, and I'm not naive, guys. I understand dirty cops, dirty towns, make mistakes, plant shit. I get all of that. But my question is, would the DEA, ISP, FBI all come in, conduct investigations, and they're not going to realize Moscow PD just set this guy up? And are they going to say, hey, what's up with this? And they're going to be like, oh, please ignore that. We got to do what we got to do. And they're
Nothing
going
to
to
see
say,
here.
oh, nothing to see here, right? And they're walking away. Can we I can't buy that. I've dealt with.
That's something I've said. Let me respond real quick to that.
Go ahead.
I don't believe that, the way I explained my thought on it. Okay. Not saying that the police department is hands-on involved in the situation. I feel that obviously they made mistakes. They dropped the ball. Okay. And I do believe 1,000%. I'll be honest with you. But I also feel like maybe it wasn't a hands-on situation, that it was more of they looked the other direction because they're used to doing that. Okay. So because that's absolutely correct, folks. Some of these people that are saying all these things, you have to think about both sides of that situation. Like the FBI, the state police, the local law enforcement, other local law enforcement is possibly involved in this. Like they're all crooked. Come on. I mean, that can't be.
No,
But it doesn't work that way.
Can I give you an example?
This is not an X-Files.
They don't have to be crooked for those policemen to pull one over on them. If you're a manager at a Walmart, you order 100 cell phones, and at the end of the month, your manager comes up to you with a ticket that he sold. He needs 40 cell phones. He sold 40. So you ordered another 40 phones, right? So you've ordered a total of 140 phones in 30 days. At the 45-day mark, they audit the department and find out you only have cash receipts for 30 of those phones. 15 of them were stolen.
Yes.
Right.
And
so here's the thing. Is the manager complicit? No. And in the same way, whatever the police brought to the FBI
is all the FBI knows.
Right. And so the FBI is going to give you their opinion based on that information.
We just watched a video in my Discord that what was it, 3 weeks later, DEA, or not DEA, but somebody, I'm not going to say who they were because we don't know. They were not local law enforcement. They were in that house. Yeah, those people. So if they're coming in after the fact, I'm saying DEA alone, guys, if there was any drugs involved, one of those police agencies is going to notify DEA at some point. Are they going to walk in and agree with the rest of these cops? Yeah, we can just turn our head. I know somebody in the Florida DEA. This guy's photo cannot be on Facebook. It cannot be photographed anywhere with his wife because he has been deep undercover. Now, I'm in Florida. We're a different beast over here. I get it. But I want to go back to the basics of the case. They got Kohberger for a reason. I'm not saying this guy did it all by himself, but I do not trust Dylan and Bethany. They know something. They know something related to Kohberger. That is very obvious at this point, in my opinion. Or these the attorneys wouldn't be playing this game with each other. Right. Ann Taylor's not playing a game. She can see every hole in this story the same way we can. This is going to be a legal precedence case set. Whether we are prepared for that or not, or realize it or not, it's not going to come down to any of the rumors that we've heard in these streams, because nothing is being done outside of these streams about these rumors that we know of. We're stupid if we think the law enforcement hasn't heard all of Kim's story. They have.
Absolutely.
Well, even the judge said, let me check what social media or something like that. Like, who are you watching, Judge?
The judge in this case, in my opinion, I've heard people say bad things already.
I liked him.
I like this judge. If you watch court cases and you pay attention, you will know this judge is not going to be swayed by slick talking BS.
Is he the judge that signed off on the PCA?
No, this is not that same judge. This has been moved to a different judge. And if they decide to move to a different venue, they're going to have to get another new judge.
Right.
And they don't want that to happen. They're trying to, and as far as that gag order goes, everybody, both sides have agreed on that gag order. BK himself wants the gag order.
I would too. If I were him, I'd
so we can stop this. Oh, the prosecution's hiding something with this gag order, because it's not even their decision. It is the judge's decision, and both sides asked for the gag order. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff I think we can just put to rest and be like, they're going to dig holes. But one thing I keep going back to, Christy G did state that there was a video camera, whether that's the blue house next door or directly across from King at that other house or that apartment complex.
She just died.
Are you there?
There was also
I'm sorry.
You knocked out.
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to.
I didn't realize, but Christy did state, and I've been going through all my videos. I'm trying to find the ones so I can share it. So I'm not gonna, because I like to have receipts. But she said a camera saw the girls come home that night in their ride share.
Yeah.
So they knew what time they got home. They saw what time they left. That same camera is probably the one that picked up this white car passing 3 times. If you guys go watch Sleuthy's latest video, where we think he parked in the back, and the only way he could have made the 3 passes was being in the back. They're also, we got photos of them measuring and photographing that skid mark out front of King Road. They say the car sped away. Okay, if that skid mark matches his tire on his Elantra, I don't care how many Elantras were spotted in Moscow. That's his car.
Might I say, Salty, that should have been presented to the court that authorized the probable cause.
I agree with you on that, because that's concrete evidence if it was a match. And I do agree with that, Sarge.
And they should have brought him in and questioned him. They should have brought him in and swabbed him. I mean, there's so many things that you normally would expect your law enforcement to do when they're handling a case of any magnitude, but this one especially, that you would expect them of all times to do things by the book, right? And not rush to an arrest. Put a tail on the guy. You're going to spend $10 million possibly prosecuting a guy that didn't do this at this point, or you're going to prosecute a guy or attempt on all your flaws, right? You're going to get your butt handed to you.
It makes no sense that he was not even questioned. It doesn't. And asked to do the swab like the way that the rest of the people supposedly were asked to do. It doesn't make any sense. I can't figure that out.
Now there was
listen, sell pings alone. Put him in that area before the crime, not during the crime, but the next morning. On that information alone, you can investigate Brian Kohlberger as a suspect in murder. Not go get a warrant for it, though. But put him on your list of people you need to keep an eye on, check on, follow, interview friends, family, and neighbors.
Well, I can't figure out why they couldn't get a DNA sample before he left Washington. I get it. He has an apartment, and you got to take it to a dumpster probably and throw it away. I've given it a lot of thought. But like some people say, we watch these shows, go collect that straw they just threw away in that drinking cup or whatever, once it hits the garbage, it's fair game. That's the law.
Door handles of his car. Just swab the door handles of his desk.
Yeah.
His door.
There is a lot of stuff that can be picked apart in this case that really matter legally, because like Sarge is saying, you got to know your rights. You got to know when to keep your mouth shut and when to let the court handle your business. And sometimes it'll work in your favor and sometimes it won't. I honestly believe if Kohlberger's got a fighting chance, and Taylor is it. And he's no dummy himself. So he's totally involved 100% on where this is going. I can't rule him out completely yet, but I don't think he was involved alone. And are we clearly going to do away with a mean girl theory here? Maybe he helped somebody with a problem. I don't know.
I have I've said that I kind of have a little personal theory. If we're going to go that direction, that he may have, because Kaylee was a sleuth. She was into this and he had his background. There's I made a little what if scenario up in my mind, a little story I told myself that, maybe they met up at the Mad Greek, hanging out there, this and that, doing homework or whatever, and overheard a conversation that she was into something she was involved in, and very possibly maybe said, I can help you with that. Got involved in something that he was trying to help her blow the top off of, and so on and so forth. And that's where he came into play with it. You know what I'm saying? So
listen, for me, this happened to me in real life. There was a video of a white pickup truck leaving the scene of a crime. And the crime scene that it was leaving was similar to a crime I had committed years earlier. Guess who showed up at my door? The police. Guess who requested an alibi for the time in question? The police. And I willingly cooperated and complied. Okay? But that's what we call investigating a crime. Okay? Doesn't mean everybody you come in contact with or that you think of is the guy that did it. But you have to eliminate the potential. And they didn't do that here, which is just rather shocking to me. I know I did a lot of bad things wrong.
Real quick, I want to say thank you, Salty, for jumping up here and welcome. We haven't allowed KT to speak yet, but thank you for jumping up here, KT. It's great to have you here. Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Welcome. Good to have you here.
Hey, I just want to say,
and also, Harsh, by the way, sir, you're more than welcome to jump up here. I'm sure everybody would love to hear your opinions and thoughts on this as well. Just let me know. There's a link pinned. Jump up anytime, my friend. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, I enjoy listening to you guys, all your panel. You guys are really smart, and it's enjoyable. But I want to go away from the whole legal and everything. I just want to know, like, Brian was smart, and he interviewed for the Pullman Police Department, right?
Yes.
What if he was interested in Moscow Police Department too and was just annoying them so much? Like, they knew who he was already. Like, he talked to them on the streets, just had interactions, and was kind of just annoying because he was just fucking smart, and they probably hated it. Like, even when he got pulled over by the lady, she was kind of irritated, like, all right, let me give you this, let me give you that, so you know.
It's very possible.
Yeah, like, what if those, you know how those officers always went to King Road and would annoy those other kids too? What if those officers ran into him and just were annoyed with him too? And I'm going on the angle that the police department has something to do with it, maybe. And they were like, this guy's fucking annoying. Let's use him because he thinks he knows everything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like me.
No, I absolutely understand.
Okay. There was someone that called into another show. We all know the show that people call into from Moscow who got pulled over with his gun in his car.
Mhm.
And the cops took the gun, right? And he said to him, well, my wife's going to like this, And the guy's like, yeah, haha. Goes and takes his papers, his registration to go pick his gun up from evidence, police department. That cop never even turned the gun in.
Yeah.
In Moscow.
And that's what I said, guys. If you look back, that's where my whole theory about them looking the other direction comes into play. We've watched multiple body cam videos, how even one where they're training somebody and they're doing things their way, not the way, their way.
We're talking a little town. I'm from a little town. Like, if you get in trouble, if you give the right amount of money to the right politician, like, the right, whoever's up to run for the next judge or whatever, you're not going to catch a case.
Can I say that somebody did make a point in the chat room? We've addressed it, but it's worth being done again because she says not everything has to be put in the PCA, just enough for an arrest. And although that is accurate,
yeah,
the what's put in the PCA must provide a substantial amount of evidence that the accused committed the alleged crime. It must be substantial.
Right.
It can't just be a picture of a white car. A cell phone ping that was off during the crimes and murders. But my experience tells me as a cop that usually means smart criminals do things like that. That's just not enough to say Brian was in the home. That's the problem with the PCA, Mary, is that now let's say there was other evidence that they issued to the judge that you say is secret, it would be in the PCA redacted. You see? The PCA in its entirety was released. They didn't, and whatever was supposed to be secret would have been redacted, but there's nowhere in the PCA to show big enough redactions to add more to what we know. That's the problem with the PCA. And that's why I've said, and many have said, And I've been saying it since the kid was arrested. They should never have gone about it this way and getting an arrest warrant for the kid. It's deficient on its face. It doesn't place Brian at the crime scene.
No.
Then the same prosecutors tell the judge before he goes for the warrant to ignore the DNA because the prosecution believes that somewhere down the court that data will become inadmissible. In some court, it could be considered inadmissible and therefore useless to this case.
Yeah.
The cops were admitting that before they even applied for the PCA. So if you take the DNA out of the PCA, you're left with cell phone pings and blurry pictures. Neither of which place Brian in that home. That's what we're pointing out here. And anything secret that they may have had came only after they issued an arrest and got warrants to go after Brian. And I believe anything they gained after will be fruit from the poison tree because the PCA is insufficient.
I agree. Thank you, KT, for jumping up here and asking your question. I appreciate you. And again, guys, for those of you that have not checked out Harsh Reality, especially on this case, he's always got some very, very, very insightful information. It makes a lot of sense. I enjoy watching them all the time, guys. The link on the front of the screen. Please check it out. Show some love, subscribe, and spend some time over there, folks. It's well worth your time.
He does it twice a day too. It's kind of nice.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, and whoever was talking about the camera or whatever, way back when this first started, and I do know the creator that he actually made a video about it, but he said it was like really hard for him to even find. Fox put an article out about one of the residents, like actual, like they own their home that lives like up, has a camera that points down over that whole area. And he saw the car coming in, like on his camera, it was coming in like 2 something.
Okay.
Maybe that's what I mean. I could tell you who made the video. I don't know, but it was Suspicious Mouth is who did it. Or is that how you say it?
Subconscious.
But he Subconscious Mouth. It like points down that whole, like covers that whole area.
Right. I like his outlook on things. He's very interesting to check him out.
Yeah.
Check out Subconscious Mouth. It's a very interesting channel to watch. And his point of view and his outlook on things is very interesting. If you haven't, just take one look at it. I guarantee you'll be interested. Okay. Real quick. Welcome. Thank you for jumping up here. Who do we have up here with us again?
Helen.
Helen, welcome, Helen. Thank you for jumping up here today. How are you?
I had a little question the other day. Like, my whole thing is the 8 hours. I just don't get it. I can't believe that somebody would actually wait 8 hours before they call for help. But it just kind of like dawned on me that maybe the reason why they didn't call for help is because maybe the cops are involved. Like, if I were afraid of the cops, why would I dial 911?
Right. No,
and I'm just speculating like everybody else, but I'm just kind of like throwing it out there just to see if, I'm not anti-cop at all because I feel like we need law enforcement to, stabilize everything.
Sure.
But I'm just like, well, what if the cops were involved? And the reason why they didn't call 911 is because somebody,
they didn't trust 911.
They're afraid of the cops.
No, I understand.
How do you call 911 when they're involved?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Even if it's just a cop, it doesn't even have to be multiple, just one,
In the very beginning, when I first read on this, I said it sounds like a policeman went in that house clad in his black riot undergarment, normal black outfit, right. Black pants, black shirt, black mask, black gloves. That's what black boot. That's all police department issue stuff.
I don't, me personally, this is me. It's not, doesn't reflect on any of you guys. I don't personally feel that they're involved, like I said, hands-on.
Yeah.
I feel that they may look the other direction in certain instances because they're used to doing that to make things run smoothly their way. But I feel that there may have been something else that made them fear calling 911 possibly. Not that it was involving police per se, but almost as in, somebody said per se, or they just knew that if you call the police, you may be the next one that's laying here like this. And that's my thought on it. I don't think they're that deeply involved per se, police wise. I just think they have a tendency to look the other direction because that's what they're used to doing, because it makes things go smoothly and if things run their way, is what I'm saying.
I think the girls were terrified because Bethany herself, her phone is used for the time of death.
Mm-hmm.
So something significant about that phone gives them 4 o'clock to whatever it is. I'm not gonna have it right, but so that's a significant piece of information they gave us.
Yeah.
Right. And to me, then you ask, why did they wait 8 hours? Well, the answer may be on that phone.
Well, here's the other thing too. Harsh put up something else that I absolutely agree with. That narcotics very possibly in that house, maybe specifically in that room or anywhere else in the house, and they didn't know what to do. They didn't want cops coming to that house knowing that the police were going to be coming with that stuff in the house.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes, you could.
Lana has put out a lot of videos on body cams, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the cops were there, like, I hope I'm not exaggerating, but like almost 24/7. And I think that they looked the other way a lot of the time. They looked the other way when it came to the drugs. Like, I mean, maybe, I don't know, I'm just speculating, but maybe the cops are involved taking bribes with the cartel or the drug deal or whatever. I mean, they don't make that much money.
Right.
So
no, I understand. I respect
and
that.
I know I just like, I keep on thinking, like, why, in my heart of hearts, like, it just kills me to think that, like, somebody could be bleeding to death and nobody's helping them. It just I can't get over it. It's like, okay, one more thing. Just one more thing. Okay, if I saw somebody hurt, or if I was in a car accident and I didn't call for help, I would be arrested, right? Because I saw that person dying and I didn't call for help.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that you'd be arrested. I mean,
would I be accomplice?
What's that?
Would I be aiding and abetting? I don't know the terminology, but would I be aiding and abetting
involved? Okay, if you watch something go on and you don't want to be involved because you have a fear, you're not going to get arrested for that. But they're going to say, what the hell is wrong with you? Why didn't you call us? Something like that, and it's going to be a morality issue. Okay, but no, you won't be arrested for that. Now, if you're standing there holding, somebody's doing something and they say, hey, hold this for a minute while I do this. Yeah, you're going to get arrested. That's aiding and abetting. That's the difference. Okay. Yeah, it is a whole morality issue, in my opinion. I absolutely feel that way strongly. So,
okay. Like, if there was a car accident and I drove away.
Well, hold on. Angela did say it's an Idaho law felony if you don't now that's different. If you see a dead body, then yeah, that's something different. But if you're standing
8 hours.
Yeah, if you're standing off in the distance and you see somebody stabbing somebody per se, and you don't want to get involved because you're afraid of it, you can tell them, I didn't do this because I was afraid for my life, but you should still call 911. That's the difference. Okay. I'm just saying that's my opinion, but no, you're right. 8 hours is a long time, and there really is no good reason for it.
Wasn't it just about 6 though? Didn't other students show up to the crime scene before the police?
Absolutely.
So what? Yeah, it was the 8 hours they waited, but it wasn't 8 hours that it took to react to the situation.
Right.
And that in and of itself is fishy.
I have one more question, and then I think I'm pretty much done.
Yes, ma'am.
But so I forgot what I was going to say.
That's a great point, Harsh. A 5-year-old would have called 911 because that's how we teach, which tells me, in my opinion, sorry, 1 second, Helen, and I'll let you say what you had to say. The fact that it's bothered me from the beginning. I don't care what the reasoning was. I know that we teach all of our children, when you see something, you hear something is happening, you pick up the phone and dial 911. So there is no good reason, in my opinion, other than personal fear or involvement, that they did not dial 911. That's my opinion. Okay. That's all I have to say with that.
I have one more thing. Okay. If it were okay, I've been on other channels, T-Rev or whatever, and I just keep on thinking that if it was a male, if it was a man, if it was two guys,
They'd have
if
left
it
in
were,
cuffs.
yeah, if it was anybody else but two beautiful, attractive girls in their prime, like,
Yeah.
would they get away with? I don't know if they're involved. Everybody's innocent, but like, if it was anybody else, wouldn't they be arrested already? They were at the scene of the crime.
Listen, I think these young girls were not only at the scene of the crime, but they were up while the criminals cleaned the interior of that home. That's what I think. I think they were there the whole time. And the reason they called their friends was because they didn't want to call the police in case those guys were still there. They didn't know. And I think they panicked and called the sorority friends, and they came over, and their thinking may very well have been normal people coming over to the house early in the morning would be a normal event. They'd want to run away. Where if they had called the cops during the time these people were cleaning it up, they were afraid the cops showed up, they'd be killed or caught in the crossfire. That may be one of the reasons why there was such a delay, that in fact there was no evidence inside the house because the actual killer or killers remained after the murders to do a cleanup. You see, no one's really, I guarantee you no one's ever put that together and said it like that, but it would make sense. It would explain why there was such a delay.
I just want to, I'm sorry.
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I just want to say one thing, one more thing. Like, why did they get a pass?
Well, they lawyered up.
That may be why they got a pass. That may be why these girls are being taken at face value. You see, when I'm telling you about there potentially being the murderer remained there to clean the scene, would explain why these girls didn't call the police.
Right.
You see, that I don't know that that's true, but it does make an awful lot of sense that the murders not only took place, but the murderer or ers remained behind, cleaned up the footprints, cleaned up the blood stain, cleaned up their DNA, their traces, and then left. And the reason the girls called their friends and not the police was because they weren't exactly sure if these people had left yet. So they called their friends, not because their friends could protect them, because that was a safer thing to do in their mind or whoever's mind it was.
I don't believe any of the statement that was put out there that supposedly came from Dylan. None of it. I don't believe any of it. That's me though.
And here's my other thing with the 8 hours. Like, I work in a pathology lab, okay? Like, I've seen some things. I've smelled some things. You know? How they even could even be in the house. The smell of the blood alone, but just one hole in someone's colon is going to ruin your whole day.
I said, thank you for saying that again, because I'm retired, medic, fire, EMS, all that stuff, guys. I've been on scenes that are not even a quarter of this bad, and the smells alone would have alerted anybody, even with about the bullshit, the lies that they didn't hear anything, this and that. The smell and the scene itself
through the air vent
would have put them out of that house. In my opinion,
absolutely.
Hours later. That's all I'm saying.
One more question, just one more. Okay. If you were on the jury, and I don't know if it's Koberger or whoever was there, but let's just say if it was somebody else, some random person. Let's say you were on the jury and somebody said to you, it took 8 hours for anybody to call authorities to call for help. Wouldn't you be suspicious? Wouldn't you be like, that doesn't sound right? Well, so I think it's an automatic, like, I mean, how could you say that person did it when they waited 8 hours to call for help or to call the authorities or whatever you want to call it?
Right.
Like, if I was on the jury, I'd be like, oh my God, why did they wait? What took them so long? They were in a frozen state of shock. They were sleeping. Right. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Their answer to that,
guilty or not guilty? Not guilty.
Their answer appears to be what exonerates them.
Yeah.
Right. The cops said that these people were suspects, but they had been deemed not involved. The driver, the two girls in the house. So it's highly possible that whatever happened during that period of time, they didn't call the police. There was still something going on in that house that they feared for themselves not to call the police.
First, they were sleeping. Then they were not sleeping. So which is it?
Well, no, this is what I'm saying. There's an explanation to that 8 hour period of time that we're just not being given. And all I was trying to point out was that it's possible that there was still something present in the house that kept them from doing anything. Not that they fell asleep or they were part of the crime, but maybe the cleanup, as we're being told, there's no evidence. Maybe these people stayed behind to clean the scene. Maybe other people came in, and these people didn't call the police out of fear for their own lives. They'd be hostages. Think about that. If cops come rolling up on that house like that while you're in that house locked in your bedroom. So then instead they called their friends at 10:30 in the morning, right?
Yeah.
And their friends came over.
Yeah.
I just wish that there wasn't so much secrecy. You know, it's like I just keep on thinking like, what's the big secret? I mean, either you have the evidence for them to, and they know they got the guy. You have the evidence, or you don't.
Right.
What we're hiding it because we don't really have it. We're hiding it because we don't want the public to really know. Anyway, thank you.
And witnesses normally, when there's someone attached to a crime scene or questioned, the law enforcement isn't going to give you their alibi. So whatever the DoorDash driver said, they're not going to tell you what that person said. They're not going to list that in their PCA or in any of their filings. So if they eliminated a suspect, did you question the girl? We did. We eliminated them as suspects, but they're not going to tell you why they eliminated, right? That's in any case. It wouldn't matter if it was this one or it was a burglary down the street.
Like Showalter driving to his parents' house, like in the middle of the night. It's like, that doesn't make sense.
In my opinion. Yeah. Why did that happen that night? Because I believe he knew something was. Here's the thing. Hold on a minute. Okay, here's the thing. I truly believe that, as we heard him say as he's walking them to the Grub truck, that something happened he knows about, and he knew because it was talked about that there were other people at that house that left when this went down. Okay, because that's why I feel that they were ambushed, that people rushed the house, came in, started this disagreement, whatever, and that there were other people at that house at that time, and they bolted. I think they left because they got scared. In turn, I think the fact that he was with them that night made him take off to his parents' house because he was scared. Not to mention, there was a holiday coming up, and I think he just left early for it. Okay, but to leave that very night and drive that far was just a little suspicious to me, in my opinion.
I mean, was he on Adderall, or I mean, wouldn't he be exhausted at 3:00 in the morning?
It could have been. That's very popular with college kids at this point. So yeah, it is what it is.
I mean, that makes sense since the 8 people in the band field, the 2 guys that were at the Grub truck that were walking, that had a cut on his head that he didn't have at the Grub truck.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Hence my video. We'll show you. Walter.
Can I add two things to you
guys? Did you have any other questions, Miss Helen?
No, but I appreciate you a lot. Thank you for making it nice and peaceful and just giving everybody a voice. I thank you.
No thanks needed. This is what you guys all deserve. And I will continue to do this for you guys on a regular basis. This is something I'm going to do regularly. So you guys all deserve to have a voice, an opinion, and a theory of your own without being attacked and without having to worry about, what's going to happen. So let's check this out here. And then anybody else that would like to jump up here is more than welcome here.
You could play that on 1.5 because she waits in between. Like, girl, what are you waiting so long for?
Yeah, no problem. 1 second here.
Can I ask a question about a video that she sent you that you haven't played?
Okay. That's what I'm playing right now.
Okay, here's the question. Is the person in this video the same person that was texted multiple times that night by one of the victims?
Don't know.
Is that the same guy?
I don't know who this guy is, but I think I do have an actual picture of him. He's the guy that, I don't know if you've seen the selfie of the guy holding the iPhone. He's got the bandage on his finger. You guys seen that one? I can email it to you.
Okay.
Coming at you.
Yeah. Let me make sure you guys have audio on this real quick. Sorry. I always do this. I don't know why I do this constantly. Just part of my ADHD, I guess.
I live with it every day, man.
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it?
I take my Adderall faithfully.
Oh yeah. Yep.
If not, I am a disaster.
So okay. 1 second here. This is Clay Jones says there were 6 suspects in the house. 3 were military trained black ops killers, and 3 were the local drug dealers. Okay. Thank you for the comment, Clay. Appreciate that. Quite interesting. All right. Let's move this along. Let me know how you guys, if you can hear it okay.
The Grub truck video depicts many individuals communicating amongst each other. However, the assertion that 2 individuals appear to be communicating covertly is speculation on my behalf and not proven as fact. All individuals depicted in the video and screen captures are innocent. Only the legal authorities, such as the FBI or Idaho State Police, can prove otherwise. Hoodie sees his secret friend.
See what I'm talking about with the pauses?
Yeah. Now, was this visible?
Hoodie
when it
looks
was...
down as secret friend passes in front of him.
It moves so fast in the actual video that you don't notice it.
Okay.
Is there a person in a mask standing right there, or am I going blind? That last one. And in that one again. Or is that a guy just with his head leaning forward with a hat?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Right here, you mean?
The last frame looked like somebody in a face mask.
Here?
No, back before. Go back
to
to.
it.
Yep.
Again.
Back one more. No, one more.
Right here?
Yes. Okay, he's got his hand up. Okay.
That's Showalter.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
okay.
actually.
All right.
Jesus, I think we know all of these people by their first last names. I'm surprised we don't have their social security numbers at this point.
It just drags, but it's telling, you know.
The point behind this, folks, for those of you that aren't getting it, is that him and him are having a conversation via text, possibly.
No, him and the guy in the black.
This guy here. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And him. Okay. Who is this guy? Do we know who this is?
I sent you a picture of him, but I don't know if it was the guy that you had in that video that yesterday with no shirt on.
Okay.
I don't know. That's why I was like, who is that guy? But I emailed you a pic.
All right, because if not,
Maddie passes between this group.
I can get Mikey to check out and for you to see if we can get his name if we don't have it. It's not a real clear picture of him. It's kind of hard.
Hoodie looks at friend as Maddie passes through.
And notice, oh boy, doesn't have a cut on his head either. Oh, Charlie Brown over there in the sweater.
Yeah, with that lump that he had on his head.
Does secret friend notice Maddie?
Charlie Brown, I love it.
Secret friend keeps looking towards his right after Maddie passes through.
Well, see, they're talking about Showalter over here. Now, that reminds me.
To get secret friend's attention, I wonder if Hoodie clears his throat here.
If you're going to do that, do you guys remember something? If we're going to talk about this like this, okay, hold on a minute. I showed this a couple different times that when Showalter is standing there talking to Joe Vidal, they're talking about whatever, and then Maddie and Kaylee up and leave. Right when they do that, Showalter looks to the right as the girls are leaving, and then he hurries up and looks to the left real quick, and then almost like he's looking for like, hey, I'm out or something like that, or they're leaving or something. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That
Now
was the video.
here's where it gets good. Cough, cough, she says.
Welcome, David James. Good to see you, brother.
And then if you like actually play it like the actual Grub Truck video, you like you can see it all in like, you know, real time.
Yeah, we could do that too.
Totally up to you.
No worries. I've had quite a few of those videos. We can look at it. It's up to you guys. Yeah, I never paid attention to this guy before. Believe it or not.
Me either. Like, so when Marissa sent me this, I was like, shut the front door. Who is he?
Anybody dressed in full black in the vicinity of one of the victims anytime that evening should have been identified and questioned.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Doesn't that sound the way you would run an investigation?
Yeah, that's the way it should run. But this guy's not, he's not looking at a phone.
Almost.
Not yet.
Not quite.
So let me ask you this question then. If we're going to go with this. Oh, okay.
Finally.
Why she wait so long? Like we see, you know.
Yeah. So,
but appreciate her for the work.
Now that he has his attention, Hoodie avoids eye contact.
Okay.
You cleared your throat and got his attention, and now you're on your damn phone. Oh, now he gets it.
And then he goes to his phone. Okay.
It looks to me like that this possibly shows the ID of who's going to be the victim and who the perpetrators are.
Well,
but there's no way to prove that, right?
Sarge. Let's stop this for a minute again. Let him see. Okay, so he goes to his phone then, right?
Yep.
This guy.
Yep.
Okay.
Secret friend also takes out his phone.
Okay. All right. Now, let's stop right there. Now, let's go back to the walk from the bar to the truck, okay? And the conversation, Maddie, what did you say to Adam? I told Adam everything. And Kaylee is madly texting in her phone the whole time. And this guy right here says something along the lines, because we're not 100,000% sure, they're going to get you for that. Or something like that, okay? It makes you wonder if this, what she's claiming here going on, is about that conversation. Could it be?
Exactly.
Yo, you know, Maddie said all of this to Adam, and this is what the deal is, and this dude is like, oh, okay, and you know, I'm not gonna get into like for sure, but I'm just saying it kind of links that stuff together in a way. If you're going to go in this direction, is what I'm saying. It's very interesting to think that way.
Is the guy on the right Adam, or any of those? No, neither one of them are Adam.
This guy is Jack Showalter. He walked the girls from the bar to the Grub truck, which was always kind of odd to me, but whatever. Hoodie guy, and then I want to know who this guy is. That's the question of the day. Who is this guy? Because nobody has ever mentioned him. I've never paid attention to him until right now. So, and we can go to the live video and watch it again and watch this scenario go down live. And he's kind of solid, guys. He's kind of broad-shouldered, bigger dude, seems kind of like he might be strong. But I'm not saying that he's involved in this scenario, but it does with the way this case has gone. This is what happens. When you see things like this is what we do.
We speculate.
That's right. And these things here, they're very good reasons to speculate. So I'm gonna try to pull the video up if you'd like. And
Can I say what what that video reminds me of that they showed on the screen like that? More than anything else? It reminds of how me and my buddies communicate when a nice rear end walks by.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? Come on, you've been there, Dago, right?
I've been there a long time ago.
That's how me and my daughter just communicate from across the living room. You know?
Right.
Yeah. So there may be nothing nefarious between these two other than they think she's got a nice butt.
That's very possible. Yeah,
Waiting.
I had never
never seen this, and this was like 4 or 5 months old.
Can I say something ridiculous? Something ridiculous. The guy standing right in front of the camera looks like the Pope. See the hat he's got on? White jacket. Was the Pope there?
And it does very well make this look like this is a communication right here. It could be a
Why we're still waiting, but and waiting some more. I don't understand this part. But see, old boy does not have a cut on his head.
You're talking about Aiden here.
Charlie Brown, yeah.
Yeah. I don't see anything nefarious these two gentlemen are actually doing it. As a guy, I just don't see it.
Hold on.
It's possible.
Secret friend allegedly reading message from Hoodie.
See, she doesn't know they're trading messages, and everybody's got their phone stuck up their nose every minute of every day. It drives me insane. So who knows? What who these people are talking to.
Is Hoodie trying to appear nonchalant here?
Okay, real quick. Heather asked and a few other people. Okay, this video, the whole basis of this video is to show that it's very possible that Jack Showalter or Hoodie Guy and this guy right here are having a conversation with through text messages, very possibly in regards to something that's going on. Okay, that's what this is about, Heather.
Because like when Jack walks away, they stop texting.
Right.
Reading.
Oh yeah, definitely, Clay. I've had conversations with her too. I do believe. He's still reading.
He's studying it, ain't he?
Can I was, this reminds me of, I was at our local beach where all the car guys hang out. And a bunch of us were like that crowd there. But and I didn't know it until later when they walked off. There were two guys stuck on their phone like that. And then they both walk off. Come to find out they were playing Pokemon Go.
Appears to look up from the screen slightly.
Right. That's a good point. That's what I was saying on it. That do you think Hoodie Guy is telling them what Maddie told Adam? Very, very possible, because he was standing in the bar with the girls and with Adam and with Jack Decor while they were standing there talking. So who knows what he heard? Okay. He very well may have had that conversation as well. That could have been the reason why he took off that night, because he knew something he didn't want to know. Because if you're
Stops
out at a
reading
bar,
as Hoodie follows Maddie and Kaylee to their right.
somebody said to go back a frame.
Appears to look up from screen slightly.
I went back. Okay.
But look at that person behind him, though. Doesn't that kind of look like Brian? Just a little?
I mean,
where?
Back here. It could have.
I mean, I'm totally speculating, but.
No, the hair's too flat to his head and it's too thin to be Brian Koberger. The guy
Okay, good. I didn't want it to be him.
Believe me, I think we all wanted Brian to be guilty because of.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I want justice for these families, but something just, it ain't. It ain't passing the sniff test, man.
Yeah. I think I went back too far. Hold on. No, I don't even see him now.
Appears to look up from screen, slightly.
I'm gonna have to mute my mic. My huskies are acting fools.
This guy here. Yeah.
I don't think all of this chopped up video is needed to continue on with the point being made is, right? All these different images of these two guys. Their point is she's suggesting that they were involved in this somehow. Is that right?
They're having a
I just thought it was interesting. And then like this guy starts looking over at the girls when Walter walks away, like keeps his eye on them. It's weird.
Left again.
Yeah, I never noticed him before this. This is weird.
Me neither.
There's a clear shot of him in the video itself too?
Just I sent you a picture of who I thought it might be.
Because he looks like somebody else that I was looking at a long time ago.
It's probably the same person.
I don't know.
I sent it to you. I emailed it to you.
Okay. So do we need to see more of this, or is there?
I don't know what. She just goes into like him staring at the girls hardcore the whole time.
Towards Hoodie, who just sent another message.
There we go. Okay.
So I told you it's excruciatingly drags on, but it's telling.
Yeah. Is his facial hair red?
Oh, I don't know.
He looks like one of those guys that would love to be with her, but it's never going to happen.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me do something here because that is very curious to me. There was, and I hate dropping names, okay? I really do, but he kind of reminds me of somebody that I looked at one point early on in the investigation. For those of you that are not familiar with, Hannah Cleary, who was a roommate of Maddie at one point in time, he kind of looks like her brother, Hannah Cleary's brother, a little bit. That was kind of weird, but I didn't get a clear look at him. That's why I'm saying.
I mean, he looks like of the more Latin to me, but I don't know. He's just far enough back you can't tell.
Thank you.
Looks like an Idaho farmer kid to me.
Yeah, okay, 1 second here. Let's try this again.
Yeah, there's so much stuff that's gone out could be interpreted in so many different ways.
I know. But in the regular one, if you the original, if you watch it after Jack walks away, that guy he keeps his head focused over there. I'm just like, this is weird.
This guy here.
Okay. Yeah, well, we're weird creatures when it comes to checking out women sometimes.
Yeah, this is true.
Right.
This guy here.
Yeah. I don't know who he is though. I stole it from, but
Mikey, if you can see this picture, brother, if you can do a search on this guy's face, if that's clear enough, do me a favor if you could.
That's not the same guy.
Because I've never, I mean, you might as well do that.
I don't see that as being the same guy at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell, but I want to go to the video and see if we can get a clear picture of this guy real quick.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hop down. I appreciate you playing that. I just thought it was interesting. And I'll catch you later.
Thank you so much, Jeff. If you want to send that, you can, brother. I appreciate that so very much. I have really finally like some new dots. Higher ground. Thank you. Yes. The one that you sent. Yes, Carolyn. I saw the one you sent. That's looks like a different person altogether, Carolyn. 1 second here. Yeah, who is this picture of, Carolyn? Because that's a younger guy. I'm not sure who that is. Okay, do we have that video from yesterday I can show? Oh, thank you, Anna. I got your email as well. 1 second here.
SRB is saying, isn't that a picture of the guy who snapped the photo of the car from the gas station?
I'm not sure. Yeah, very well, maybe. I never got to see that guy, so absolutely, Anna. Thank you so very much, and Sophie as well. All right, let me see here. If not, I'll just pull. I'll go back to the where we watched that video from before. Can't trying to remember where the hell the Grub truck video came from the last time. I've gotten like 14 different versions of it. All right, we'll just do this then. 1 second.
Well, one thing is for sure. However this turns out, it's put a lot of people's attention on things that will make a big difference in everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Eve Lucky, I used to stream, and that was one of the avatars that I used.
I don't know what happened, Eddie. 1 second, guys.
Well, the devil's in the details, right? And that's what we're all digging for. ABC News would disagree. Well, ABC News is part of a propaganda machine in cahoots with the federal governments and crime cartels of the world. We don't have media anymore. Media is supposed to be the fourth branch of government to hold truth to power, not to be complicit in their actions. That was awesome.
Sorry about that.
And I really think they ambushed that drunk turkey guy. They ambushed those guys pretty hard. They should have known that was coming, man.
Oh, I kind of feel bad for that scenario. It seems like they were used.
Yeah, they're to spread the propaganda that what we discuss on here is a fake conspiracy theory and causing problems.
100%.
Listen, but nobody knows until it all pans out. And it's funny if people have paid any attention. But if you go back to 2016 forward and look at all the accusations against that orange-haired guy, you'll find out now they admit that all of it was a lie. Dr. Fauci even is reversing all of the stance he forced upon you. Your mask, you can't take hydrochloroquine, you can't take ivermectin. He's admitting all of that was wrong.
Yep.
So all of us that are conspiracy theorists, right? What the irony is that enough time goes by where people aren't paying attention anymore, and these people admit in the 14th page on the bottom paragraph, they admit they were wrong and they lied. They don't admit they lied, but in essence, that's what they're telling you. We lied.
Right.
And so when it comes to the ABC News and what they were doing to there's two good things that come from what they did to the drunk turkey. One is it shows you that they're paying attention to what we're saying and they're concerned, okay, because we're contradicting them. And two, they're concerned enough that they're actually going to try to make fools out of people to present to the public that everybody on YouTube is a fool.
Yeah, I agree. That was wrong. That was really wrong. They absolutely use them, and they don't do those kinds of things. They once again, they show you what they want us to see. They cut and clip different things, and they made it look bad. Okay, so this is the guy right here.
You know why they don't show you pictures of polar bears anymore? Do you know why?
No
because
idea.
the herds have increased with the reduction of sea ice. That's why they don't. That's why they don't show you poor polar bears no more.
That's crazy. Hold on a minute.
It's amazing. It's so amazing the information we have at our fingertips, and it's
kind of
more amazing how we
in the
get
same
manipulated.
theme is that what is the official word on using what is with unalive and the red stuff instead of blood? What's going on with that?
What say again, bud?
Well, we keep hearing in the true crime community unalived. I mean, I'm so over that. Do we have to say that, or what happens? We all die if we say.
You're living through a cultural shift, and the words you're being told to use are.
No, I'm saying specifically for YouTube. What if Dago on your channel someone says dead or killed? Then what?
I probably get flagged or something. That's why it's ridiculous. It's
I just can't with all this cancel culture.
In a sense, it kind of goes against freedom of speech.
Guardians and unalive. I struggle.
Yeah, you can get flagged for stupid things. I'll be honest with you guys. YouTube sent me a what do you call it? Good God, I can't think right now. A survey and asked what can we do as a platform to make things easier and better for you as content creators. I said, let me fill this out right now. And I said, well, you can give us a little more freedom, considering that we're in America and we're supposed to be free, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, all that kind of stuff, I never got any kind of a response on it. So it is what it is. That was one thing I kept asking with all the questions. How can we do this? How can we do that?
I was deplatformed several times by YouTube, man.
I'll try to watch myself, then I'll try to conform.
You're fine, Eddie. Don't worry about it.
Here's a joke for y'all. That's kind of the same theme as the jokes we heard earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Why were women made so beautifully? So men could love them. Why were women made so dumb? So they could love men.
There you go. Huh. You scared me for a minute there. I was gonna say you're gonna get yourself killed saying something like that, but you came out on top on that one.
It works out. I think it works out for the ladies on that one.
Yeah.
You gotta give one to the ladies every now and then.
We were talking about the skid marks on the pavement earlier.
Yeah.
Did you know? I was watching the aerial. I was trying to understand more about them a long time ago, but and maybe we can do this a different day, but if you go to that aerial footage, you'll see that there's they're the same length. There's two parallel tire marks. So, that's a pretty steep hill. That's a lot of gradient on that hill. And a Elantra is front-wheel drive car and it's underpowered. It's not gonna be able to do that. It would struggle doing that going up the hill, but certainly not going down the hill. This is more like a Camaro or maybe like one of those Dodge Hellcats or a rear-wheel drive type of car like this. That's got a lot of power, and it probably was made in the summertime by some show-off college student or maybe the year before. But this has nothing to do with an Elantra leaving the scene quickly.
Are those marks steady black strips of rubber, or
yes, they are?
There's no degradation until at the end they just stop.
That didn't come from an Elantra.
There's no gradual degradation of the dark marks.
There's no. It's just going to be going through the motions. I think they're trying to just show the community, show everybody that they're that this investigation looks legit. But there's so many inconsistencies with the investigative process that we've seen. They would have known on day one that the supposed killer, I mean, if this is true, that he left through the back door, they would have had that whole area taped off on that same day. They would have been looking for tire marks up there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's a gravel lot up there beyond, in addition to, in addition to that. So there would have been tire marks if your supposed killer was up there. But
here's the problem with this, though. Okay, the snow and the ice that's on the ground.
There's no. There's no snow. I mean, there is like remnants of snow. It had snowed prior to this, but the aerial footage there's a couple of them, and it's not the snowy one. It's not that one.
No.
Well, the reason I asked about the marks is a burnout and brake skid marks are distinctly different in appearance. That's why I asked you if they faded towards the end. So
Well,
that's why
it's-
those
it's
marks may
been-
not even be relevant to the
It's been
crime.
a long while since I've seen it.
Yeah,
they're
but you
two
should
parallel
look, because
marks.
if they're totally black, evenly across and straight going away, then that's a burnout. But if they're two equally spaced dark black marks that slowly fade away, that's your anti-lock brake system releasing and turning in other words, they'll fade in a slamming of the brakes, but they'll remain completely dark the whole way in a burnout. There is a
Some
way to distinguish.
some kid was showing off and he was roasting his tires a year ago. You know,
No, I'm just saying, but there is a way to determine whether it was a burnout or a skid mark, is what I'm saying. The two are distinctly different in visual appearance.
No, I think it was about 9 days after the crime that they taped off that back region, and the purpose was so that prying eyes couldn't be close, just to distance themselves from the camera.
6 days to review the skid marks, Max says. Where are the actual skid marks? That's the thing. Are out here on the road?
This is not the aerial one. This is not the one.
Oh, okay.
It was not the snowing on the morning of the 13th. This is a different date.
Okay. I can't seem to find it.
I'll look for it, and but it'll probably have to be a different day, but we can explore that another time.
No, that's fine. Absolutely.
And we don't even know if they were part of any of
it has nothing to do with anything. The skid marks, not everything we see has to tie into this.
Right.
That's the trap we kind of fall into. Everything we see is going to be
and that's the thing with this case. Everything that we've seen is wanted to be tied into this because we don't have enough information to make anything make sense. So we try to take everything we get and tie it to this. That's the sad part of this.
Right.
So I forget who it was earlier that asked the good question. I forget the exact question, but how does Brian Koberger tie into this? He must know something. He's involved in some way, and I don't mean that in like he had a part in the crime, although he could have. I mean, how do I know for sure? But just the inconsistencies of the investigation and the way they're trying to hide all this information and go through the process almost in a way that suggests the secret grand jury. So they didn't give probably. I'm just speculating. Give them the exculpatory evidence. So they're being sneaky, and all that leads into the fact that he had nothing to do with this at all. Otherwise, why would they behave in such a manner? So he knows something, though. Possibly, because if you examine his line of study, who knows? Who knows what he was doing? Maybe he was. This might have been part of. Somebody might have reached out to him to. I don't know how to finish my thought, but he might be on the right side of the crime. In other words,
right?
Because this would have been his profession. This would have been his.
Yeah, I've had that
life's
feeling.
Work.
Exactly. Thank you, Jeff. I got your email.
You guys do realize too that just for any of these major crimes like this, it isn't unusual that once the police show up to investigate, once the tape is up, that the perp comes back. And you would think that that's possible. They do it with fires, they do it with murders. You'd be surprised how, especially people that are sick enough to kill. And a crime like this, either the person is beyond a typical whack job that kills for the thrill of it or for the pleasure of it. It was an organized kill. But if it wasn't an organized kill, it was someone like Brian, you would expect that they would have. There's a high likelihood they would have showed back up to the scene of that crime, especially once it was news and it was spread around and it was tape. You know what I mean? I wonder if some of that 51 terabytes includes cameras on the scene that were keeping an eye on anybody that came by. I wouldn't be surprised at all that there weren't days and days and days of video from once that crime scene was established.
Right. Okay. Here we go. Some stills here.
Hey, Sarge, did you hear me the other day when I kind of talked about they didn't put together, the FBI and Dylan, they didn't put together a composite sketch. But if you contrast that with the case of Sherry Papini, Sherry Papini.
There's a white Elantra right there. There you go.
Sherry Papini is the one who falsified her disappearance.
Okay.
And supposedly these two fictional Hispanic women are the culprits. But I'm sure the FBI, they're probably smarter than Sherry Papini. So they indulged her and they put together this composite sketch of these two fictional non-existent women. So we have Dylan describing this excuse me, the suspect, but they didn't even go to the length of sitting down with her and putting together a composite sketch. So what does that tell us? I think it tells us that the whole thing in the PCA about Dylan witnessing this is a fib.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that there wasn't more detail, because, and maybe there wasn't a composite sketch, but the description of a more detailed description. Did you notice that? Did it just show his eyes? Did it cover his nose and mouth? Yes. Did he have a big nose? Little? They could have made a composite of this. They really could have. And you're right. They probably should have. And it's just kind of mind-boggling. What they've exposed to of what they've done is just so childish. What they did, in my opinion, it's just unprofessional, and it doesn't seem like they carried anything to a conclusive answer. Even whether Brian Koberger was in the house, there isn't a person on earth that can conclusively state that or prove that. Not they themselves. The only one that knows for sure is Brian Koberger. That's it.
Right. If someone was making the argument, well, they're not going to sit down with her and make a composite sketch of someone who's wearing a mask. Well, look at the Sherry Papini case.
Yeah,
they certainly did. I mean, they'll Google images and look it up.
There were key pieces of information she could have provided. The type of mask might have perked someone's interest. It was a girlfriend, boyfriend, or wife, right? The kind of mask used, what it looked like, whether he had a big nose, a little nose, all those details, the bushy eyebrows, how were the eyes shaped. You could have presented a composite with an image of a person in the mask that somebody, maybe many people would have misidentified, but would have identified somebody, and they didn't do it. I agree with you, Eddie. They should have done more, and they failed in an epic way.
Daigle, I'll hop off here quickly, but I'll leave you with this. It is pretty difficult to find the exact spot in that video to where you can see, because of the way that drone, the direction of the camera, there is just one very exact place where that drone is looking and how it's turning, where you'll be able to see the road and the two parallel marks of those burnout marks. So
yeah, no problem.
Okay.
This is the guy. Thank you for sending this. This is a close-up of the guy that we were talking about just a little bit ago. And again, Mikey, if you can get a good visual on this, run that if you can, so we can get a name for him. And thank you again, Eddie, for being up here. I appreciate your input always.
Annie Ruler had said, Miss Potts confirmed twice today that the PCA states B spent the night in Washington. Long PCA, guess many of us missed this. Now, I never read that before, but this is under Annie Ruler. She posted that. I don't know if you could put it up on the screen there, Mr. Daigle. But see, I've always said that the cell phone ping and Pullman places him, in my opinion, at home as proof that during that period of time, his last stop was at home. And it didn't pick him up again until like an hour and a half after the crime or something, right? So,
yeah.
So my contention, if I was his lawyer, would be that's exculpatory evidence. That shows Mr. Koberger was home at that time. And so if he were to say, I turned my phone off and took a nap, it's indisputable. You can't dispute that. Right? You proved that he was home. Sorry, on your word, not his. You told us he was home based on your ping recognition.
Yeah, and I did miss this, Annie.
Yeah, I missed it too.
I did not see that. So there it is. I mean, there it is. So this that makes even less sense now.
Right. See?
Okay.
It confirms what I've been saying, that last cell phone pig and Pullman puts Brian back home. This is in the PCA's admitting it.
Right.
Yeah, it's a tragedy what's happening here. That's it. It just, to me, it just shows all of these idiots that run all of these things and all these bureaucracies that get appointed by all these criminals that get what a mess we have.
Mm-hmm.
An unmitigatable mess. And you would think some local Idaho police department couldn't be this stupid or corrupt or chaotic, and yet here we are.
Yes, here we are. Absolutely.
That's the heartland of
And
America.
don't worry,
isn't it?
guys. I'm going to continue this tomorrow as well. We're going to do the same thing tomorrow because there's a lot of you guys. It'll give you guys time to think up anything you want to say. So you guys have another full day of doing this tomorrow too. So, what
I
was
appreciate you inviting me in. I'll happily jump the hell out.
you're always welcome in here. You know that, as in all of you guys are.
Yeah.
Was there anybody else that wanted to jump up here and make any comments, thoughts, theories, state anything specific at all? Again, thank you, Sarge, for being here. I appreciate you. I still don't have the phone things worked out, Brian. It's gonna be really hard to hear you. I'm still working on trying to get that right. Again, I didn't have time to do it last night or this morning like I was trying to. 2 screenshots of where the skid marks were via email. Okay, Mag, let me pull that up real quick. 1 second here. Here we go. Okay. It's hard to see, but yeah, that's way bad. I never seen that from that one. Excuse me. Okay. Hold on, guys. I see Anna's trying to come in here. I am lagging really bad. I don't know what's going on with it, if I'm having internet issues again or whatnot. Welcome, Anna. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that.
I have a quick question actually. So just regarding Jillian, obviously, so we were talking about her before.
Yes.
There are a few points that I was just like, obviously the whole thing doesn't make sense. But when the cops that were in the band field with the lads, because they
Mhm.
were underage drinking.
Yes.
I'm not sure if it was that body cam that they picked up, like the black truck. It
Yes.
kind
Yes.
of looks at like the one that Dylan has,
Yes.
or her parents has. I
Her
don't know.
father owns that truck. Yes.
Yeah. So I was just thinking about that, just the timing. If she was in the truck, if she left in the truck, was
Right.
it her
Right.
boyfriend? If
Was she in that? Yeah. Was she in that truck at that moment when that was happening? Absolutely.
yeah,
Great question.
if it's involved and like somehow. And another thing I think about what happened in the house is just like, it doesn't make sense that you don't have like the survival instinct
Right.
in a way that, okay, you open the door at least 3 times to check things that you're listening, like a whimpering, you're listening. You probably, obviously, she didn't open the door for this specific situation, but you heard possibly Kaylee playing with Murphy. How do you see a male wearing black with a
Mm-hmm.
mask, night, like late at night, that you don't recognize, that you don't know who it is,
Right.
and you locked yourself in the bedroom, but you don't call 911?
Yeah. No.
Like that's survival instinct. And as per PCA states, like obviously they don't put all the all the unalivers with the same. They don't describe the same way that they died. Like they don't say everyone died and like stabbed by a knife.
Yeah.
But Ethan's one says sharp force injured.
Yes.
And I was just like, just a simple Google, and then it could be a lot of things that are not knives. So
Exactly.
basically, if something happened to him, that you could have saved his life somehow.
By calling 911.
Yeah, can you not be charged for that? Like, it's a mission.
I think that they should be. I think you should be, in my opinion, at this point. And I've thought about that for a long time. I'll be honest with you, Anna. I very strongly feel that at this point, what's up, Tommy? I feel that unless there is an absolute life-threatening reason why you didn't do this, then yes, you should be charged. Because I said a long time ago, because of where we know that the officers were throughout the campus that night, throughout the Banfield area, they were so very close. Okay, that if somebody came into this house, well, let's just say in another what if situation that Dylan was in her room, she heard, because we know, I don't care what they say, I know she heard everything. Okay, she heard the situation going on. Why did she not pick up her phone immediately, call 911, and say, hey, there's people in my house, they're attacking other people? And the police would have responded immediately and either stopped the situation, prevented that, and prevented the murders possibly, and had the people that were responsible for it at the same time. You see what I'm saying? That's what bothers me about that, and that's what my biggest issue is. The on panel is Anna Flavia Constantino. Because we have to say the full name, guys. Understand?
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, yeah, that's been an issue for me because it makes me feel like she did it on purpose. Okay.
It's a mission. It's a
Yeah.
mission. You
Yes.
know. Another thing that I was going just to ask, and if you guys can double check, because I can't remember whatsoever. Where did I see this? It was actually an official document, but something related to the Exhibit A. It actually the Exhibit A. It's
Exhibit A.
actually
Okay.
Payne's statement.
Yes.
Is that correct, or
Exhibit A from the PCA.
yeah?
Yes, that would have been, I believe that was on Payne's statement. Yes.
Okay. And how could he give like a statement that it can be considered evidence when he arrived at the scene only like 3:30? I wonder.
That was one of the questions we had as well.
Okay.
Anna, I'll be honest with you, because I believe the actual statement itself should be by the real deal statement should be just the first responding officers. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
So why did Payne have any kind of a statement to this whatsoever? He wasn't there in the beginning. He showed up after the fact, and yeah, he did walk through and made his conclusions to this and that. But why should that matter? That's always been an issue of mine.
Yeah. I don't
Because
know.
Henderson, Nunez, and Smith were the first three officers on scene. It should be nothing other than what they saw, what they experienced. Payne should have nothing to do with it, in my opinion. So that's been an issue for me from the beginning. So I agree.
I mean, I agree and I respect everyone's opinions, not even here, but like everywhere that I'm talking about the case.
Right.
However, one thing that I don't agree with is, I think, and I said that so many times in the chat, that it's justice must serve all, and that includes the defendant. And you cannot claim that you're seeking justice when you know that 5 families are suffering.
Right.
5 families. Obviously, we have the victims, but we also have Brian's family, in a way that if he committed what I think that he didn't personally, they're suffering because they wouldn't expect his son to do that.
Right.
Or his or they're like brother or friends or whatever. Like
it's traumatic shock to know that this is your child. And yeah, absolutely, you're 1000% correct.
You cannot be like a hypocrite and say and say like, look, I want justice for the families, but I think he's guilty. Like, what?
No, I
You
agree.
know? So
You
come
are.
on, people, just get better, you know, in this
It's
situation.
ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dago, for
No,
having me.
thank you. Thank you so much. I love hearing from you guys. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Have a great day.
You too, my dear.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yes, you do. You have a very beautiful accent, by the way. Quite a few people have said that. I think it's Scotland, I believe. I love it. I love hearing your guys' accents from overseas. I always have. Is Payne the one who noticed no upstairs access from the outside? I think that was him on that. Yeah, you're on the one body cam video. You're correct. Ireland. I'm sorry, not Scotland. Ireland. Yes. And that is a great point. Thank you, Eddie. Very great point. Like I said, guys, if you didn't get a chance to, you didn't have anything that you could say, we got tomorrow. We're doing the same thing tomorrow because there are so many of you guys that are in here and that are maybe not be here today. I'm going to give everybody the option. So I figured 2 full days would be awesome. Yes, the link is pinned at the top of the chat if you want to jump up. I won't be here too much longer, folks. We're rolling on a pretty decent amount of time here, and I do have some things I got to get to, but I have another show tonight. I'm covering the 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For anybody that might be interested, I am covering the life and death and history of Alcatraz, the prison, the rock, whatever you want to call it, for something a little different to look into. So anybody interested, please feel free to show up, jump in, and hang out with us tonight as we cover that. It will be interesting to say the very least. I'm sorry, Sherry. That's horrible. Thank you. Lollipop, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate that so very much. Thank you, Miss Heather. I appreciate that as well. Thank you all for the super chat, super stickers. Anybody that may have donated via the Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo, that all helps to keep me coming to you guys on a regular basis. I am going to be contacting my internet company when this is done because it seems like I've been lagging through this entire thing and I'm not very happy about it. So we will be checking into that. So was there anybody else that wanted to jump up here today, per se? Or had any other questions before I do bring this to a close for the day? Again, thank you, Miss Heather. I appreciate that as well. Those are the links again for PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo, folks. And again, thank you so very much. And look who we see in chat. Mama Bear's in the house. Good to see you, Mama Bear. By the way, for those of you that jumped in after the fact, I did not see Tommy Jude. It's great to have you here. Thank you for joining us. Let me see here. Anybody else? Miss Annie Potts is always happy to see you here as well. Crossroads Accounting, Pam Frenchman, good to see you as well. I'm just trying to pick Miss Coco's in the house. Good to see you. For those of you that I did not see come in, Dolphin 517, good to see you. Chicken Antique, here you are. Sugar Magnolia, welcome back. Good to see you as well. I think the conversation today was very interesting. Always love having Sarge on panel. All right, Carolyn, that sounds wonderful. I appreciate it. Michael Rondo, good to see you. Okay, I did not want to go there, but I feel like the responses are polished and load up the 2 ladies that lived polished. I did not want to go there, but that's what this... I'm sorry, I'm confused, Michael. Okay, I did not want to go there, but I feel like the responses are polished and load up the 2 ladies that lived polished. I didn't want to go there, but it's like, it feels like, okay. I'm not 100% positive what you mean, Michael, but thank you for the comment either way, my friend. Okay, welcome back. Helen, how are you?
I'm good. I have just one more thing.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm just curious, what is your theory in, because you've done all kinds of research, just how do you, because you said I have a theory, and so I'm like, well, what is it?
In regards to the whole thing or just
Yeah.
specific parts?
So, well, like just can you give it to me in a nutshell?
Yeah.
Sorry.
First of all, I do believe that the basis behind this had something to do with drugs. I do
Mhm.
not believe that the kids were in bed sleeping.
Mhm.
No worry. Thank you, Doc Terry. I do believe that they were all hanging out, very possibly within the kitchen, living room area, talking about their nights, eating their food, possibly, so on and so forth. And somebody either came in, it kind of goes two ways. Either came in and kind of ambushed the situation, started an argument over a specific reason. I feel personally that Xana and Ethan were actually the targets, and that Kaylee and Maddie, or more Xana and Ethan were targeted. And they tried to, go into Xana's room possibly to get away from the situation, to get away from the argument. They were chased in there, which escalated the argument, in my opinion, that Kaylee and Maddie took off trying to get upstairs to get away from the situation, maybe to call 911 or something, and they were chased down, and very possibly, attacked at the top of the stairs in the area going into the bedroom. And that's why they were found the way they were in that room. And then I feel that, well, the that they were on foot. I don't think there was a car. I just don't. I think they were on foot. They took off, and that was the end of it.
You said that they were ambushed. Do you think it was pre-planned? Like, do you think the fraternity has anything to do with it? The frat boys? Because there was an argument there earlier.
I think it may have led from that. I think it's linked. Yes, I don't think it was per se frat boys. Okay, but I think that argument was linked to this per se. Yes.
So, drug frat boys or drug
I
somebody.
think the argument was at the frat house about something altogether different, which again goes back to the whole thing that Kaylee asked Maddie what she said to Adam. I think that is a key in itself. Okay, and I think that situation is what may have prompted what the ambush was about, which again also isn't related to what the argument in the frat house was about, which in turn why I believe that Ethan and Xana were the actual targets at first, and then that the other two were involved after the fact.
Can anybody ask Dave or Kim, like, what was the argument about? What was the big argument about? Was it you didn't buy me my drugs, or you didn't pay me for my drug? Like,
Dave, I don't think wanted to talk on that. Kim did not know, I believe. I don't know if you're in here, Kim. Do you know what that comment or that argument was about? I believe personally it was about drugs. Okay. That's what I think this is all boils down to in the end, with something that had to do with drugs. There was a rumor going around, and I don't know, I can't put any stock in anything because we don't have factual stuff, and I don't like to talk about things that I don't have facts on.
right.
That there was a rumor going on that Maddie may have flushed something down the toilet or something like that, and that is very hard to prove. Okay. But that in itself is a very good reason to do something like this. Okay. But we don't know that. So I don't like to put that out there because I don't have facts on it.
I just can't fathom why somebody would do that to 4 people. Like, okay, I missed out on, like, what I don't know, what would be a lot of money? $10,000 or worth of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna lie to people.
Right. If I mentioned in the beginning of this, when I first started, not today, but period, in the beginning of the investigation, that what would make somebody want to unalive somebody else? The one thing in the world that everybody is very protective over is their money. Okay. If you mess with somebody's money and you do something to somebody's money, they're gonna protect that. They're gonna respond to you. They're going to retaliate, and that is why I feel that this is drug related.
But all 4 of them?
Well, like I said, I think 2 of them were directly involved in a certain situation, and I think the other 2 may have very well just been collateral damage in a sense. That's just my opinion, though, guys, and that's 100% speculation, absolutely alleged. So because I don't have any facts to back that up.
Do you think how do you think they found Koberger?
That was the other side of it, yeah. Tommy
Like,
says my theory's changed a bit. I don't think anyone in the house was dealing at all. Right, I don't either. But that Xana allowed Emma to stash her stuff there. Very possible. And again, it leads into what I was thinking. Thank you, Tommy. Me and Tommy have had conversations as well, and I think we're kind of on the same page with this. So yeah, Tommy, I can agree with that. I think that Brian Koberger very well may have been, as I said, my theory on that. I have a couple of variations of it. Okay, one that he's there, he's involved, he knows everything. There was a couple other people that helped him, of course, because I will not believe he did it by himself. I'm sorry.
right.
It's either that or the other side of things is that, like I said before, Kaylee was a sleuth. Okay, she was very
Right.
interested in this type of stuff, and I think that she was talking. Maddie worked at the Mad Greek. This is just a whole what if scenario. Once again, this is purely speculative, so don't take this for anything other than that. Something I put up in my head that I could see Kaylee working, or I'm sorry, Maddie working all the time. Kaylee going and hanging out with her friend, their best friends, maybe sitting there eating, doing homework, talking while she's working, hanging out, stuff like that. They serve vegan food there. Brian's in there possibly one time, eating, having some vegan pizza, something like that. I don't know, doing homework. This that overhears a conversation that those two are having, and says, "Hey, I go to school for this kind of stuff. I could really help you with that situation. I mean, why not? These are two pretty girls talking about something. Any guy is going to say if they have an in that situation to talk to these girls, I'd love to help these girls. You know what I'm saying? And he's very, very confident in his education, as we all know. So I could see him talking. Maybe they had a conversation about something that was going down that she didn't like over there, and he's helping her. And I think that part of it is where Brian could have come in that aspect. On my other side, my other theory, and that he knew too much about something, stuck his nose into something he shouldn't have, and whoever did this killed two birds with one stone, and they eliminated the problem, and the other side of the problem, they put it on him. Okay,
You don't think it's a crime of passion?
I do not.
Like somebody outed somebody in the fraternity. I heard a long time ago that there was somebody on
The
Reddit or whatever
situation.
that they outed them and blah blah blah. But
I don't.
would that be a crime of passion?
I do not. That's my opinion, though. You can't take what I say as fact, because, like I said, we all have our opinions. I don't believe it's a crime of passion.
We're all speculating right now because we don't have any facts.
Right.
We have a sheaf that's not even admissible.
It's garbage.
We have no DNA.
Yeah.
We have no witnesses. We do
have. I do believe we have witnesses, but they're not speaking. They're not allowed. We're not going to know what they have to say until the trial.
But the two witnesses that we do have waited 8 hours to call authorities.
Right.
So how credible are they? What are they covering up?
We have to see. Sadly, that's what we have to wait to find out, and that's why, especially since we have been told that there's exculpatory evidence from one of the witnesses, which blows the top off of this in some sense, in my opinion, if that even exists. Understand that very well may not exist, even though it has been talked about, and that's the problem with this case. We cannot trust everything we've heard, for one, and we don't know for a fact everything that they're telling us is real. That's the other problem. Smoke and mirrors is a big deal. Okay. And it happens in a lot of these cases. If they're doing their work on their investigation, they don't want us involved. We know that. Okay. So look over here at this, guys. Hurry up and look over here. This is what's going on. When in real life, this is the real deal over here. Okay. That's something that does happen. And I can see that happening in this sense. That's why we're all over the place like we are. Are
you there?
Yeah, I was gonna go ahead and let you talk. I'm sorry.
No, I just wish that we all have a digital footprint on our cell phones, text messages, everything that we do is on our cell phones.
Yeah.
Like, why we don't get to know any of that?
Well, because it could ruin the integrity of the case by putting certain things out, which makes me feel like there's so much more, very possibly even other people that they know are involved. And if they put any of this out, that could kind of like shine the light on that scenario, and then it could run those people off. Do you know what I'm saying? Or run that evidence off in some sense. If that makes any sense to you. But that I do feel that is a fact in some sense.
Anyway, thank you.
Absolutely. No, thank you for being here.
I like your new setup. It's very eye pleasing.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Okay. Talk to you later.
You have a wonderful day, Helen.
You too. God bless you forever.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, guys. Well, I think that is going to be it for today. Again, I want to thank everybody that is here, has been here, that came on panel. Sarge, all you guys, everybody in chat. Sleuthy Goosey was in here. We had Harsh Reality in here today. Jules of All Trades was in here today. I appreciate all the other creators that have been listening and watching. Thank you for that. All of the subscribers in here, Meatballs, the family, all of you guys, I appreciate you guys so very much. Again, guys, I will be here tomorrow, same time, same thing, same place, doing the same stuff, guys. So anybody else that's interested, you'll have the ability to speak your mind, say your piece, and be up here talking just like everything else. So once again, guys, I want to thank you all for all the support, everything you guys do for the channel. Anybody that donated today, super chat, super stickers, anything that supports the channel, thank you so very much. Hello, Mother. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. And know, guys, that I do love each and every one of you guys so very much for supporting the channel, more than you know. I appreciate that so very much. I will be here again tonight, guys. What was I going to say? 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, telling the story behind Alcatraz, the life and death and history of it, and all of its glory, I guess we could say. Again, thank you for the guests that I had today on the panel. I appreciate you guys so very much. But again, we're going to be doing it again tomorrow, guys. That's how we're going to end the week. And that's pretty much it, folks. Don't forget to love yourselves and love each other, because that's all we have. Don't change a thing about yourselves, folks, because you guys are the beautiful people. And on that note, I will see you all so very soon. Have a great one, folks. Bye-bye.